Good. We're live. We do want to apologize for the mishap with um, the link there. It's just something just went. I missed and hit something. Go back to the page anyway, pull that link and just share the link again. Share the other link. I'm gonna delete the first one.
Don't do that.
It's still running?
Hold on, right now it's still running on my phone.
Alright. So you can definitely okay. This one is live, this one is gone. So
Need some more, so the guys are looking nice. All right.
alright.
I ain't know what this is to come out.
No, it's not gonna come out with that link. I'm gonna delete that link. Yeah, 56 shares, 67 views. Are we doing
Jeez,
start?
doing quick, very quick.
Alright. Do you see we're live again? Share that new link, please. Alright, we just want to humbly apologize. Just there was a glitch. I hit something that I should not have hit. So it is all our fault here. Please.
Yeah, yours. Yeah, that's right.
Yes, it's my fault. I apologize. I ask that you would just share back the link again. Please go ahead and share the link again and just delete the first link that you had and just go ahead and share this link. Okay, we do apologize for the inconvenience, but we understand when you're dealing with technology, they have these things that can happen, not intentionally, but they do happen. Yeah, just delete the first link. We're getting back the viewers. All right. We're getting back the viewership. I do apologize for that. Just give us a couple of seconds where we just try to get back everybody in. We did have a pretty large audience. So I'm asking that you, I already removed the link, so you're okay. We're asking that you just share this particular link that we've just put in the, on the show and just jump back on as possible. If you can help us share it to the different avenues, that would be good.
Mm-hmm.
It's telling me I can't share. Alright, I need to delete this content first. Okay. I did the good links. Alright. And that's as I said, it's important also to try to follow us on our page, because following us also helps us to be able to reach you when things like this happen. And as I said, we're using technology rather than the old way of technology. We're using very, very new technology. So I'm just sharing back with everybody. So I'm just asking you to just help us so we can get back all those persons that are waiting to view the show. So just bear with me while I share, and then we'll get back into the topic of discussion. And again, we're talking about the youth perspective. We want to hear from you. Kimar, just post that number there for us so that they can just show the number that they can call in if they have questions.
846-9912.
Right.
WhatsApp only.
And if you're now joining, we have our guest, Akil Daly from the PDP Party, Youth Sportsman, and Mr. Kevon Henry, who is the president of the League of Young Socialists, which is the Barbados Labour Party's arm. Youth arm, sorry.
Yeah.
Youth arm. All right. And you know the moderators. So it should be completed in a second or two. And then we can go we should be good to go. All right. There's a lot of groups that are always waiting for us to share, so that is the reason why.
Be back up.
We take, huh?
You need a tech person.
Well, yeah.
You put the question, you should put the questions.
Not necessarily.
Nah.
Yeah. So we are back up.
All right.
All right, and I posted back to all the groups. Please just join us. Sorry for that. And also, I'm begging you all to share the link with other groups so that people could join, so that everybody know what we're talking about today, and they could also join the discussion. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, my apologies, Kevon. We were asking you to give your opening statement, your opening welcome. Go ahead.
Well, again, we just want to say thank you for having us. Obviously, this is an invitation a little bit that we've been trying to do for a minute, so I'm glad that we could all make it, and let's get into it.
It's true. We was actually trying to do this for a
About 4 or 5 weeks ago?
Yes,
That's right.
yeah. So, if you're treating Kevon well, he looks fantastic. All right.
Oh boy. You got a fan club there, bro.
Right? So we want tonight's discussion to be very engaging, so we want that you as well post your question to us and let the panel discuss it. I said we have a number of things. What's the first thing that we're going to be looking at?
Youth and COVID.
So we're going to ask, post our panel here, and obviously because of the political association, we can see the difference in the opinion of some of the persons here, and how they see it personally, but also how their party see it from a policy perspective and from a different scope. So we're going to throw the question as it relates to, we're in a pandemic right now. We're seeing the world is facing something that this generation or this life that we live have never seen before, whereas it relates to COVID. And a lot of us are feeling it in some way. Some people are feeling it on the unemployment side. Some people are feeling it from the point of poverty. Some people are saying they're lost in terms of their business.
True.
Families are being split up because of this, because people are not able to pay their part or their portion of the rent or the bills and the
So true.
income. And I could see it personally because some of them are knocking at my door. So we are seeing a serious pandemic, which I always say no fault of any party or any person, but it is where the fault lies, as some people speculate. But we want to understand or see where you are think, especially within your youth groups, within your party, how are they feeling as it relates to COVID? How are they coping with it? On this, and if some of them have lost their employment, and then we will get on to the second part of it, which will look at the policies that government have put into place and what do we think, and to see how it's helping, and to see if it's also benefiting those, especially the youth, at this point. So, gentlemen who want to take the question first, and then we go into conversation.
All right, I guess I'll go first. COVID's been, I think for most people, the most challenging experience that we would ever have. For us, particularly LYS, we had the Pantry Project where, thankfully to all our members and people who donated, we were able to assist a good few families. I think we did over 250 over the 3 months that we did it.
Wonderful.
And that gave us insight into people's situations, the challenges that they had. But the challenge for young people, so that's the good side. We saw how young people came out and helped other people who were in need. But it is disproportionately affecting young people, considering that we would have had a move to get more people involved in entrepreneurship and asking people to be able to seek jobs and to be able to sustain themselves. And in the flash of eye, most people went from having employment, being able to at least meet the basic costs. Even for most people who was a struggle before, after COVID, a lot of people didn't have access to any form of resources to meet the basic needs.
True.
So it's like saying to people who we've sold the entrepreneurship dream to over the last few years that probably now got up going, and we could speak to some of our government policies like trust funds and some people who benefit and started going, and then they didn't have any income or any forms way to get money for nearly 3 months. It is disproportionately affecting younger people. They don't have the same savings base as sometimes older people may have had.
True.
And young people have families as well. They have children, they have other responsibilities. So it's going to be a challenge going forward, and it's really, the onus is on the government for us to be able to find the adequate solutions to cushion them and help them get through. We've seen some of the policies that the government has tried to roll to cushion, but if you're looking at it from a young people perspective, it will disproportionately affect us harder than it would for somebody else who maybe had 20 plus years of savings.
I do agree with your sentiments, Kevin, in the large part. I do think that COVID-19 did disproportionately affect the youth more so than a lot of other segments of the society, for a lot of points that you alluded to. But I just want to get to, in my community per se, a lot of the young people were disadvantaged because of COVID. And even in the school system per se, I live in what you would call a urban constituency, a ghetto. So we know that schools closed, and we were encouraged to go on the online platform that the government created to do learning. But what I saw in my particular community is that a lot of the young people in my community did not have access to internet, one, and did not have access to a device. I must say that the government did put some measures in place to get devices to the students. But in my community, a lot of those efforts didn't reach the children in the community. Some of them did get devices, but they still had connectivity issues. So I think that COVID really did disproportionately disadvantage youth from certain cross sections of the society more so than others. And it would be interesting to see how we move forward for the September term, because the government did say that they will not be issuing marks for this term. So basically this term has quote unquote been cancelled without being cancelled. So it will be interesting to see how the gap, the developmental gap is filled between now and September, giving equal access to all segments of the society. Because education, as we all know, is very important, and COVID seems to be here with us for a little while. So it is important for us to respond in a way that no one is left behind.
What about the father? You're talking about connectivity. I remember Flo coming out saying that all you have to do is access your device on an online platform, that they provided free internet for persons that have the device. For it was the students too. So I know that you could think, that you were able to just go on their network, not their network, but rather their internet server or site, and then you were able to access free through that.
I did hear that report, but one must ask how many people was facilitated through that process. Was any or is there any data available to see? Because when it looks in my community, I can only talk about my community. Although that was announced, a lot of children in my community still did not have connectivity. And Kevin, you are in my community frequently, so you would know. A lot of the urban communities in Barbados, children did not have connectivity. So my question is, will the September term come and will these issues be sorted? I know the government is trying. They did get donations from Rihanna recently. They got donations from China. So there is an effort to get the tablets to the students. But I think connectivity is the bigger issue. How do we get those tablets connected to the wireless internet system so no one will be left behind?
Well, that's a discussion more for like the telecommunication company, because they offer it.
Well, as a broad-based conversation everybody needs to have, to be fair, because Akil raised 2 points that will be telling going forward. The move towards Google teaching and online teaching, and it showed the differences between the haves and the have-nots, and things that you have to be able to help bridge the gap, because education and classroom teaching and learning was really how people got the tools and the opportunities to move on from where they are. And if you're going to have to use equipment that is going to restrict the access, the onus is really on the government to ensure that people get the access that they need. And we've seen moves afoot to try to do it, but really and truly one of the manifesto promises that we spoke to in terms of access to Wi-Fi across the island is probably something that we're going to have to fast forward. I know in some areas it has different people have been coming on board to ensure it happens, but speaking of connectivity and people having access to online, even just for learning tools and resources, it just shows that it has to be all of everybody, whether it's private and public, to ensure that the lessons of COVID have been reached. Because it's just not even from the educational standpoint, from the classroom, but even look at from students, and particularly students who probably you were the ones who are particularly gifted and may have used things like inter-school sports and CRIFTA to be able to attract scholarships. A lot of students lost those opportunities this year, and it's a bigger impact on the full range from the youngest to the oldest person you consider youth, in terms of the things that would have challenged, and it's going to require all of us, similarly to how we behaved within the 3 months when everybody was out providing and donating, is that the donations and the help can't stop now because we have a semblance of normal. But it has to continue for a while, because these children who did not get the opportunity to learn within the last 12 weeks, their schooling arguably could be put back a good few terms, and it could be, the rush to try to catch them up. Some people could be left behind. So we have to be very cognizant, and it can take everybody across the sectors to help that.
I agree,
Go.
but what I'm specifically looking for out of the Ministry of Education is the policy framework for moving forward. I don't just want us to sit here and just talk about it and our words fall. I want to see the policy, because the September term will soon be upon us. So set the policy framework moving forward, how the use of technology will be integrated in this COVID period, so no one will be left behind.
You don't think they're doing that now?
I don't know what they're doing, so that's why I'm saying that is something that needs to be done. So if they aren't doing that,
So
I'm
that probably needs to
encouraging
be
them.
announced.
I would think that the government, and I would say it would be irresponsible if they're not. At this time, that is what they're sitting down to, because again, you're looking at a situation where none of us are accustomed to, and you have to find the best framework for it. One of the things you talk about when you talk about connectivity, I remember years ago Barbados was supposed to move to a free Wi-Fi Barbados, in terms of, if I have Wi-Fi home, then you open it so that the person next door don't have Wi-Fi, and that is something that they were moving to in public places were supposed to be Wi-Fi free. I believe that if I have a neighborhood where my neighbor doesn't have Wi-Fi but have children that need, I will open my Wi-Fi to say, hey, go ahead and let each
A
other.
lot of that
ignore that. It
has
has-
been happening in urban constituencies.
Yeah.
Let me do state that. For instance, in the Brandon's community, I know of a household that a lot of the children in the community go to that household because they are one of the only people that have internet.
Right.
And they have class there. So a lot of that is being done in urban constituencies where persons with resources are opening up their households to the unfortunate. But what I'm saying, it has to go further than that. I want to know what is the government's policy moving forward, so that doesn't have to be the norm. So that I as a regular teenager could sit at home and have access. I don't have to go by anyone for access.
I also know, for example, me and Molly constituency office in Pashal, she have free Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And many times when I pass, I see persons outside sitting, accessing the Wi-Fi. But isn't school supposed to restart in September?
School isn't closed, by the way. School is still going on.
No, but it's supposed to restart, I think, in September. Actually physically attending school, because I know that but list actually came out this week.
Yeah, and they got good
Maybe a mix.
But
Wait,
if we look at what's happening in the prevailing environment in the world, the disease seems to be getting worse. So we don't know if school will open in September. We don't know how much cases we will have between now and September. The country may shut down again. We don't know. So what I'm saying, because we don't know what the future holds, a policy framework to guide us is what's needed right now.
So that means we need then to have the telecommunication company, because we may say depend on government. We understand the policy, but I think this is where the both giant telecommunication companies need to come forward. And if you're saying that people are still not accessing, because government can put policy in place, but if we don't have the data, the bandwidth, or we are not capable as a country to be able to give. I remember they made, one of the telecommunication companies also said, hey, we hope that if we're giving you free Wi-Fi that you're not using the data to also go and stream. So that it shows then that we may have a problem
They
there.
want money for the streaming. Yeah,
No,
that's
no,
what they mean.
we have to, no, what I'm saying, if they're giving you the free Wi-Fi to be able to do your work, they may say, well, listen, you can't go on YouTube, Facebook, because
Right.
you may be pulling too much data.
Correct.
So I'm just saying that at the same time, we have to have this discussion. We cannot just say this discussion is government, but this discussion also have to include those telecommunication companies that can tell us what capacity we can even do.
I also wanted to add a point too. I think that we've seen how this current administration has been able to use GIS as a really powerful tool in getting information out to the public. And I think that's one thing that I am just surprised they didn't capitalize on during the time for the students. Because if you use GIS linking with the Media Resource Department within the Ministry of Education, there are a lot of already prepackaged programs that you can actually hear on radio and also hear on television.
When you said GS,
I
they
think
didn't
The,
use,
the Government Information Service. Sorry.
right, when you said they didn't use GS,
No, GIS was used for COVID very well. But I mean in terms of educational programming. And like, that's where the Media Resource Department within the Ministry of Education comes in. Because they're responsible too for creating content that is educational related. So I think that if we get that marriage done properly with the CBC stations, as well as the Media Resource Department within the Ministry of Education, they can get a lot of packaged materials for children. So let's say that even if you don't have internet, but you're at home, you can see a TV. You can listen to or watch or view programs. But not everyone, it may not always be easy for people to be all the phones are online at the same time.
I have a Anthony. We could record the program with Jeff Brooms.
Correct. Homework action line.
Homework action line.
That's right.
Uncle Jeff.
Uncle Jeff.
I think we could have rolled out a plan similar to the homework action line during the COVID period.
For the kids.
If we look at COVID and how the impact of technology basically made or broke the educational policies. Right. I think that EduTech was the start of a good plan. Unfortunately, it didn't get where it was supposed to in Barbados.
All games to say it failed.
But I mean, not getting into the failure part, but just talking about the concept of EduTech and
The integration of technology in the classroom.
But you don't think education was a tad bit too early?
Not
No,
necessarily.
no,
I think
it was supposed to evolve. It was supposed to evolve.
It was supposed to evolve.
But
Right.
it's
Because
costly.
technology evolves.
Technology
so you can't
evolves.
stop at one
But
point.
I mean, that shows where Barbados fell down in terms of implementation. Up to the university level, we still had issues of getting classes online. We still had to attend class face to face.
Seems to get our fix in COVID though.
It seems so. It seems now to perfect it at the level. So let's come down to Barbados Community College. How successful have they been? Let me come down to secondary schools. Let me come down to
Polytechnic
primary
as well.
schools. And now we have been little babies with tablets. So even down to the nursery. So what this taught me is that we have a big implementation gap between persons above a certain age group. So a lot of, I would say, older persons feel left out of the trust of education. So when you hand over the information to parents coming to the schools, the parents don't have one iota how or know how to use Zoom or Skype
Yeah, that was a
or
challenge.
Mix.
A lot of meetings.
And a lot of parents had challenges being able to use the technology or being able to teach children how to use the technology effectively.
They didn't know.
So therefore it was a problem. Even for special needs kids, because we do have a lot of special needs schools in Barbados. The use of technology for special needs children was very, very, very difficult.
But some tablets came in for special needs.
No, not speaking about the tablet per se, but I'm speaking about the challenges associated with using
Right.
technology for special needs kids.
Right.
Right. I think I didn't hear much coming out in support of the special needs kids or for the downsides for persons using the technologies. So I think going forward there needs to be a broader focus, particularly on using the technology in the schools effectively, because this is where the world has to go now, and we're not going back. But also we need not to leave out those persons from before. Persons need to retrain themselves in
Retrain or
use of
redo
technology to
technology.
be able to effectively manage the process.
If I may, you touched on something that the PDP has been getting
Raise your voices a little bit.
some people have been complaining to the PDP about the accessibility to the teaching facility at the BCC. Have you all been getting similar complaints at the Barbados Community College?
You mean,
Some students have been raising concerns about the accessibility of the teaching platform. Are you all familiar with the teaching platform that is being
use
currently
Skype.
used at the BCC?
I think some people use Skype.
They use Skype.
Skype or Zoom.
Skype or Zoom.
Right.
Zoom
So
is-
I just want to bring to the public's attention that there are certain segments in the educational system that are experiencing problems in this period right now, and BCC is one of them. I also have to question the Trident Learning Program that the ministry launched a while back. What has it been upgraded? You know, these are questions that we have to ask, and hopefully your friends in the government would be able to
Our friends in government.
answer. No, but these are questions that
No,
were posed
Yeah,
to
we got,
us.
we got a number
But,
of questions. Go ahead.
Yeah,
and
just
then
in
we
last
take the
point.
question. Yeah.
Like, the thing is it is not static, and I don't think the ministry is static with it. And obviously, I'm not here to make their policy or to announce it at the same time. But as far as I can remember, that in the Media Resource Center, they were recording some classes.
Good.
Some were on CBC. I don't know that they had the opportunity to do all or to have a full set. But I hope that it was an opportunity to be able to set it up. That in future you could now
Correct.
diversify the teaching methods. And obviously, thinking I don't have any doubt that this is where the leadership in the ministry would have gone, considering who the personnel is. But particularly, just understand it isn't a static situation. I would think that with the personnel that are there now, that we're going to be working towards.
I think we have to be. I think we have to be a little fair when we look at this situation. And in the same time, let us get back in that. I find that our country is more reactive than it is proactive. And it is not to blame any administration, but as people, as a people, as a culture.
It's a culture.
And that a lot of times we did not seek to address a lot of these issues because we did not foresee nothing like this.
Correct.
But you know,
And
somebody
then
once said you can't waste a crisis, and unfortunately, COVID was a crisis, and hopefully from what I understand, we haven't wasted it. And a lot of
Yeah.
things that we would claim to be reactive towards, we're now putting the mechanisms in forward to fast forward and to bring us up to date. So
Yeah.
I don't think that is.
Let me get this question in, Aki, and then Simon, there's a question from Osula, I think is
Lubulia?
I have a call.
Is that the
So
what they call MOU? The MOU part. MOU had a lot
Hold a
of
second,
the
right.
Ministry of Education had a lot
Lots of time to get
yeah,
things
right.
like this going on, and they didn't. COVID made them step. My question, what is the Ministry of Education's view on homeschooling now? Since the Ministry of Education has previously given many parents much stress who wanted to homeschool in the past. Example, the Rastafarian children whose parents were before the court.
Come down to.
But don't forget that although it's
She has another
homeschooling, it's
question.
homeschooling that was basically organized by the
By the
government.
ministry, yeah, but still guided by
Yeah,
the ministry.
Instead of I just taking my children from school and teaching them myself.
Right.
Correct.
But
Structured
Blackman
program.
also asked Kimura, what proof do you have as it relates to your comments as the special about special need
Needs
kids?
kids.
I have an
Because it seems like
autistic
your
child who lives
opinion.
in my household, Amber Blackman.
Amber, right? So yeah, so if you guys want to touch on that question that Osula did as well.
Osula do these? Osula said, this is the earlier one? Oh, we forgot to
She has
Ministry
another
of
question.
Homeschooling.
Did the Ministry of Education look into training teachers as well
With the tech?
with the tech?
Yeah.
Or did the teachers have to learn as they go?
As a teacher, I can speak to
We
that.
have a call. We have a caller on.
All right, no
Somebody,
problem.
you want to
Go ahead,
call?
go speak to that first and then take the call.
Right. Even ongoing, I recently did a presentation for Erdison Teachers Training College dealing with risk management and so on as it relates to teachers and securing schools. So Erdison Teachers Training College has been doing the program for DePed and Ed leadership throughout this time, but on the Zoom platform.
I think one of the child we talk about the older folks. I remember we have to recognize too that we have some dinosaur type of mentality people that literally. I mean, I remember meeting with a person in high official in government. She was like, "I still use a pager. I still use, and I'm moving over to the phone with nothing." So there's some people still, and that's probably going to suffer some of our children. That if the mentality of that parent doesn't change that to focus on the future of technology, and if they don't want to learn it may end up suffering each other. So we have to look at it from all different perspectives. We have a caller.
Yes, go ahead, caller.
Yes, sir. Yeah, hi, good evening.
Good evening.
So, first of all, the issue of distribution of internet freely in Barbados. Now, I at times go to Oistrink, and there's free Wi-Fi. And a number of the beaches in Barbados have free Wi-Fi on them, right? And I think the beach is a very therapeutic place. What would it take for the government to have, a few desks and a few chairs, public chairs set up with an umbrella or something to shade people, so that kids can go there and they have the scenery of the beach and a little fresh air and so on, to have access to the internet. Because one of the issues with this COVID is the fact that a lot of people cannot afford the internet. So some people can't afford the internet. I don't know if there's a lot. And also getting the internet to the people, right? And for me, that was puzzling, because we live in a technological age where you could have things like, there's a Wi-Fi standard that came out recently, where you can put Wi-Fi devices on, and it has a very large radius in terms of coverage. I think it's like miles or something, and it's not extremely expensive. We could use those kinds of things in order to distribute the internet, because Barbados is fully cable for fiber. And the thing is, with fiber has extremely high bandwidth. So I don't understand how there's a bandwidth issue, because everything in Barbados is fiber. So as it relates to bandwidth, that to me doesn't make any sense, right? Secondly, and just to agree with the point one of you guys were making about people having kind of an old-fashioned mentality, I have to agree with that. I started university, and it was difficult for me to leave work, get in time from work, going to university. And I was amazed that university could not implement a system of live video where somebody would get in there, get a camera, you know, to have a lecture, you sit down, you videotape the lecture or you video the lecture or whatever, you put it on the internet. For those people who can't go. Because if you miss a lecture, God forbid, you're in trouble. You gotta go and find notes and all that thing. It's only since COVID that all of a sudden they can get it done. And I mean, where we are technologically, these things are not difficult. A cell phone, for example, could almost do it, or could just about do it. And I mean, I'm speaking about distributing videos and so on in classrooms, right? So I don't know how people are saying technically it's so hard, because the truth is it's not. What you need is a person who's creative enough to sit down and say, hey, look, these are the problems, this is what we have so far, and this is how we're going to implement a solution to solve those problems. Now, if you could have internet at your beaches, for crying out loud, and all these things, I don't understand how it's difficult to have a password and a Wi-Fi setup in neighborhoods where you believe, or where you go and do all the necessary research and find out the people that live in neighborhoods who are needing, who need access to the internet. You have a password system set up where, well, you log on with this name, this a particular name and a password, and you give that individual internet. You know, there's things that can be done, and it's not expensive.
Right.
You know?
Thank you, caller.
We
We appreciate the call. Thank you.
I largely agree with what the caller was saying. The COVID period has shown that there is a big gap that needed to be filled when it comes to the use of technology by different institutions of government. But I think we were on education for a long time. There's another thing that happened that COVID did that I want us to talk about a bit. Before the COVID period, we are aware that youth unemployment was at 30%. Now, post-COVID, I can only imagine youth unemployment would be higher than 30%. And we must agree 30% youth unemployment is an alarmingly high number for a small Caribbean island with 300,000 people. So
30% unemployment in Barbados at this given time is not necessarily that alarming, given that
what you said? Say that again.
30% unemployment in Barbados as a small Caribbean island, as you just said. I'm saying to you that it is not as bad here as in some of our other neighbors, because in Grenada in 2012 it was at 30% already.
Though I may agree with some of what you're saying, it does not make me feel any better, because youth unemployment at 30% is too high, and that is before COVID. Post-COVID, I can only imagine the youth unemployment figure to be at near 50% by now. So what that says to me is that the government must, with alacrity, put a system in place to get the young people employed again. So I expect to hear in the not too distant future a series of initiatives coming from the government where young people can get employed again. Young people need employment now.
Yeah, but let's speak of it in before we get to the suggested part for the total picture. Before COVID, we could speak to youth unemployment at around 30%.
Yeah.
And that's a fact. But the government would have made certain strides to try to encourage people into the job market and to the first job initiative, entrepreneurship channels and streams. One second. Hold on, I'm finishing. Right? You got the trust funds and the refunding of program, the building blocks programs.
Yeah.
You got the instituting the national the youth service
just put a pause.
Advanced cohort, and you see where it was going before COVID.
Put a pause, please.
But post-COVID now, the discussion, and we got to be fair to the entire discussion, with nearly 40,000 unemployment claims that would go on top of the previous youth unemployment totals, and one would hope that in youth, if majority of them sit in the household somewhere, that now you have a compound issue, that the conversation, if you're being fair, that all issues are youth issues, that the conversation has to how do we get Barbadians back to work, and where do we find the opportunities for Barbadians to get back to work? Because if a mother and a father isn't working,
I gotta find a job for the mother, the father, the son, and the daughter at the same time too. I can't segment at this point in time out specifically we have to get Barbadians back to work. I think that's where the government's trying to get the conversation in terms of pushing the work.
The reason
and
why
job.
I specified youth is that we are here as young people in
But
a
I can't
youth
have that
forum,
conversation in a
a youth
vacuum.
forum. However, you mentioned some initiatives, and it must be fair. The government did implement some initiatives pre-COVID to get young people employed. My question about those initiatives: how successful have they been? How have they been subscribed? You know, how the initiatives that you just mentioned. How has that helped to put a dent in the unemployment figures? It would be interesting to not just have initiatives listed, but show how they have assisted.
I don't think that's a fair question. Because if a program is rolled out in September 2019 and you start with the first cohort and you start to give people and let's look at people with trust loan funding and the building blocks programs, and they've been halted in the middle. Without
2020.
And let's say if I focus if I'm a creative and I'm into video production and editing, and if I'm into makeup and production, and look at Crop Over alone, the list of people who have been impacted by the cancellation of Crop Over because of COVID, the list. Even for the people who make their money for school clothes, from working bars and things every year, they don't have that list. So you gotta look at it in the total picture of that COVID isn't over because today there are no cases or there are no active cases whenever we started going back out. But COVID, the legacy of COVID, is gonna drag for a while. So we're not gonna have that conversation.
This is why it's important for us to get to the drawing board and get these programs out now.
No, the thing is,
let's not just talk. Let us really get some programs.
But listen, what I was trying to understand is that oftentimes we try to rate success quickly, and I've been around the world where some success takes 2 to 3 years to build. And it's like the, if I may say, the white man mentality versus the black man mentality. We put in our investment, now our black people, we want it back tomorrow. Our white man may say, let it grow. So we got to give time for things to grow, because from the knowledge I got, I know that when the youth mainstream, the youth advanced core program rolled out, the applications were off the chain. That people were left off the application for this thing, and had to wait for the second set of core. The trust loan released the statements that they gave millions. They were giving money
fully subscribed.
And they had to open additional offices just to control the amount of traffic. So we can say that things are happening.
All of the money from the government as yet?
They haven't been impacted by release of money. But one of the things I always
I don't think that's a true statement.
Because I don't think they got the full $10
I read a report this week.
No, but it's obviously going to roll out.
For the first time, the first 10 million was gone in
a couple months.
So that, and they had to go back to Parliament to
vote. Because then they can get a 40 million after.
Exactly. So it was not happen and the first venture. I think right now they did something like over 3,100 different disbursements in terms of different applicants and jobs who were approved and went.
My figures.
Before you move on, I just want to touch base on the employment part that you're talking about. All right, on the unemployment part of it, right? I always I'm a bit challenged when we talk about trying to get employment for young people. Like if much of them can keep it. And in the flip side of it, I don't But let me finish.
Yeah, I want to understand
when keep it in the sense that a lot of the focus, because of time lapse in terms of developing our young people, that yes, they're eager for employment, but the attitude still remain the same, the behaviors, the dress code, and a lot of things that
I think you're painting everybody with one brush.
No, I'm not painting everybody. That allows some of our young people to actually end back up on unemployment. And this is coming from the fact, I'm just saying, this is not coming from any thinking or being devil's advocate. This is coming from a professional standpoint. We're dealing with people, especially when know that the homeless population is rising as it relates to young people. And I'm saying that we have to move from the point of not only looking to employ people, but a place to equip. I remember years ago
I
there
think
was
that was the
a
purpose of the nice program. That was the purpose of the
No,
nice
just,
program.
if you're going to
Before you all swing on,
before if you're going to
I want
educate,
contribution.
we have to look to equip.
Hold on.
Because of the way some of our young people are going.
At what age you started working?
Working for who?
I mean, at what age you had your first job?
Employment, even for yourself.
Employment.
Oh, probably 16.
Good.
Mhm.
You made a reserve.
Yes.
Good, but you were able to get back up
And go on.
No, we're
again,
not
right?
disputing that people don't get it. Don't get me wrong. What I'm saying is that I'm just saying we have to look at also empowering the young people that when they get the job or developing, that we also have a set of people that are willing to keep it.
I think
So I'm just saying there's also
industries.
two-sided
I think we need to develop
unemployment and
industries. That's what we
employment.
need to
Pardon
do.
me?
We as a country and as a government need to develop industries where people
Well said.
where people can have employment, develop industry. I'm not saying to give people a job, but create an environment where industry can be created that people can
To
find
sustain
work.
their livelihood off there. Yeah.
Correct.
I think they have that.
This is related to the unemployment issue. At the university level, social sciences is the biggest faculty at K-Ville.
Mhm.
So what I am noticing is that we are producing students with degrees for jobs that don't particularly
jobs.
exist, right? So you have a long line of degree students coming out to university that are unemployed.
Or will be
Social
Or
work-
that are
social
really
work- social
unemployed,
work is one.
right?
Mhm.
Also, then we produce a lot of law students, and for a small country like Barbados, having so many students with law degrees, sometimes it doesn't make that much sense. The faculty of Tech is very small, and the world is going in the direction of science, technology, and the like. So what I am thinking is of a quota at university per degree that the government is willing to finance, because the free education model at UE is unsustainable regardless of how we look at it.
True.
I know some may argue that it may come down to priorities, yes, but it is very expensive to the government to be able to finance
Tertiary
university
level
education.
Right.
Another issue is in the secondary schools, we have a lot of underperformance by males and a lot of males dropping out of school with females achieving and going on to higher education. So what we are seeing now is many females taking up very prominent positions in the workforce, either young or old. And we are, as I said, we are experiencing male underperformance.
Kim, I would like to count you a minute.
Main one, then finish.
I want. Let me
Also,
finish.
right. Also, what I say for lack thereof, you said the government put some programs in. Yes, we agree. But what I want to see for young people is direct housing policies for younger people, the abilities to have access to capital within the financial institutions, and also being able to I would say, being in the politics, directly being involved in the decision making of government, right? So I would like to see like Kevin being able to sit at the parliamentary table as an MP and probably as a minister in his young age.
Rather
not-
than when you get 50 or
rather than
60.
when you get
Or
50,
even
to
in
be
the same
making
capacity as
policy.
legal
Yes,
head of the
making
Young
policy
Socialists.
as a 65-year-old, as a minister of youth. I would like to see certain anomalies like that change if we are to go forward as young people in Barbados.
Okay,
That's a show.
hold on. What I wanted to say here, you just made the point that a lot of males are seemingly dropping out of school. Alright? And whilst previously, I was one that I would look at it and say, oh yeah, the young boys dropping out of school and, as you said, they're underperforming. But what we have to recognize as a society is that everyone is not academic. Right? Because I find the education model that they have in Barbados is outdated. The British moved on from it, the Americans ain't even using it, and in Barbados we trying to stick to it for some reason.
I disagree, but I'll let you finish.
Everyone, male or female, is not necessarily interested in theoretical subjects. There are some people who go to school who might want to come out to be a plumber. Somebody might want to be a carpenter. Somebody might, you are acting your own right. So some people might want to get into arts. So different people have different abilities. What I think needs to happen is that the Ministry of Education needs to do a serious overhaul and actually look at the education offering in Barbados and recognize, look, the society is moving in this direction, because you spoke about Tech, right? It makes
Creative
no
economy.
Right. Well, the creative economy, yes, but the Ministry of Creative Economy, I mean, to be fair, I don't think it's doing enough.
But Jermaine, that don't make sense to the point that I made about male underperformance. The facts are, the statistics still that males are
Males are underperforming in theoretical
I want
subjects,
to
but
back-
are they really? Is it that they're underperforming? They're underperforming based on the set criteria that we have put out.
Jermaine,
But
it's
is
a
it
lot-
what
it's a
they
lot
want
faster
to
than
be?
I
that.
understand where Jermaine is coming from, and therefore
Yeah.
we have a conversation about educational reform and in
Step.
terms of how you change how
That's
schools.
some comments
Ministry of
there.
Education, the Ministry of Education, technical and vocational training is to try to say to people that you could now
No, look
go
at
through.
vocational
And but to
training, yeah.
Kimura's point, you could argue that schooling doesn't have, because you're getting underperforming school does not mean that has to be academic. It could be that you're not even passing the woodwork that you're doing, or you're not even passing the tailing or coming to school to do the tailing that you provide. So even if you provide the avenues, we still have a responsibility to engage in it.
That's
But
it.
if we just go back to the point as it relates to the point that you made, yes, there's a room in this world for people in tech, but always remember Prime Minister Arthur used to say that you have to understand the university policy and how we educate Barbadians. It wasn't quoted, but it was by choice. So if IQ want to do law and Simon want to do law, and we only need 10 lawyers in Barbados, that there are other Caribbean countries that don't have access to tertiary education. Some of their tertiary education in print is something near 7%. But they still have to have the access to people to come and write laws and to conduct business and to other things. That to understand that you had to focus on CSME
That's
to
it,
ensure that
work
people,
yeah.
to people have that
Free movement.
Barbadians
Skilled
particularly
skilled
have
persons.
avenues to take forward. So that's why again we don't look at the policies in particularly one vacuum. Our conversation has to be to let people know you could be trainer, the human development
There's a
and
point
the
here
index.
that I wanna-
If you
Before
to go
Before you
forward
go
to
to
do
that,
it.
I want to touch on something that was mentioned.
Some
We-
people
we
argue
spoke-
brain drain, but it's just
We
set it up
spoke
in a way
about
that
curriculum
matters.
reform. We are speaking about curriculum reform. And I can remember the current Minister of Education did make a statement that threw me to, it really had me disturbed when she said a little while back that the common entrance was coming to an end. Now, I have a fundamental problem with the fact that you are bringing a system that has worked well for us in the past. Yes, it needs tweaking. Yes, I agree. But the system has pushed out some of the best and the brightest in the world. You are changing that system, yet you have not engaged the public.
But what? Yes.
Yes,
I
you
agree.
have not engaged the public and let us give feedback
You mean
as
on the
to
11
what
plus?
we are
Yes.
moving
Yeah.
toward.
But let me,
So,
but let me be fair.
but-
But let me be
Can-
fair. Let's be
Can
fair.
I finish my point first,
Yeah.
please?
Let
No.
him finish his point. He has,
No.
he has an interesting point.
No, my son is currently in class 3 at primary school, St. Cyprian's Boys. Your son goes there as well.
That's right.
No, he is preparing for a common entrance syllabus. He started from class 2. Now, when the minister mentioned that this year's common entrance was going to be last, I was disturbed because here my son is preparing for common entrance and you are saying that there will be no common entrance. So I want to know what
What's the
will there be?
But
So the government is going to replace a system without engaging us and letting us have robust debates as
I
to
don't
what
believe so,
is
Akio.
coming.
I don't-
And I have a right now.
Akio,
If
that's-
we
that's-
knew,
that's-
if
that
we
is
knew
straight
what
forward.
was coming, right now I believe it would have been a topic for today, and we could be here discussing it and making it a little better.
Yeah.
But we will wait until 2 months before we implement
Can
Yeah.
one
to,
do
to,
also
to
one
force
thing?
something
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
the
I
people.
hope not. I hope not, but I understand his concern. His concern is real.
Can we all agree that because of COVID and the setback that we have, that a lot of things have been put on the back bench or also being put on pause?
I agree.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Go
but
ahead,
even
Kevin.
even to that point, I think it is. I can't disagree with your position, how you will feel based on the
parent.
announcement as a parent. But if there's one thing that's been consistent in terms of how the government does things, that they do a lot of feedback and a lot of communication. So there will be places where they will interact. They do,
Yes, they are.
and even so,
We do
and even
expect a representative
and
of the government.
and even if it's one thing we know, is that this government engages.
That's
and
true.
if- and
That's true.
More than that's
we
government.
we
More than that,
engage.
of course.
This manifesto was an engagement
More
by
so
walking
than
this
all.
country and
But
rubbing
I
shoulders Robin
add to that,
Schroeder's,
right?
Robin Schroeder's campaign. I
and they
understand
built
that.
the template for Rigon, but also there's a
agree.
commitment from how we do things that if it is not right and doesn't fit, we
Go back
will to go and do it
But no,
again.
yeah,
And the Prime Minister has said that
Australia
over
error.
and over again, and that takes away the arrogance to say because I said it, this
has
is what
to
it
say-
is.
I remember
and
too-
that's probably you can hear point of views like Akil's and be able to say, okay, well let's see where
Let's
we go.
step back and take-
So it's
we,
not. I
we
don't
can
think
add,
we
we
live in
can
an
add when
absolute
the
situation.
government talked about the BOSS program before calling it BOSS program, and this here the feedback for the country. They went and changed it. So I don't think that
So
the
what you
government
think
is
it would be
arrogant.
more responsible for a government to engage the different players in society before sending out a policy?
No,
instead
hold
of
on,
having
no,
to tweak
every-
policies
Potato or
after you send them out.
potato or potato. At the end of the
I
day,
think there
they
should
rather
be more engagement with the public
And
on
there would
policy
be.
before policy is enunciated.
Yeah.
Therefore, there will not
Or before-
have
or
to be
before a
all these.
statement is
But
made.
again,
But the statement
but
is made
again,
prematurely.
if a statement
Listen,
is
the statement is made prematurely.
if a statement
That's just
is
my
made,
view.
I'm not here to discuss what the minister's favor was
If a
premature.
statement is made,
One more thing.
I don't believe that just because
Sorry.
a statement is made, that to say, okay, this will be the end of the last year for common entrance.
But it was said by the
That-
minister.
But
It was-
regardless,
Minister
but
of
what I'm saying is,
Education says
if-
that.
yeah, what
I
I'm saying,
have to be
sorry,
honest.
let me finish.
She's an
She
opposition.
sets
She's
policy.
an
Let me
authority.
finish.
She
Let me
sets
finish.
policy.
I'm saying to you, just because the minister makes a statement about future, we have not gotten there.
The minister
She
said
is
that it
just-
will be the last year.
Hold on, but that means it still has a year for her to come and her officers to come and
Alright,
say
let us
what will be the
wait,
alternative.
wait.
And we have to be we have to be fair to government or fair to whoever makes statement that to give them the opportunity to come and say what. I think that in many things what we do is run down the government for the no. And when the government bring the no, we want the no change because they don't think so. Give them the time to roll out whatever plans they have to, and we can understand COVID. And then you could
Let
say,
him do his
let's
job.
debate. It's not about letting him do his job, because we would be naive to sit down and say that because somebody make a statement. Yes, any statement the government make impacts us, both
Definitely.
good and bad. But what I'm saying is, be fair. Allow for the things to take place and let the minister
But
bring
we are
it in.
allowed to comment on the statement, huh?
Of course, you're. No, but you
That's
were
all we're
obviously
saying.
you were
That's all
you're
we're
doing it
saying
as
to
a
do.
party member.
That's all we're
Listen,
seeking to do.
You're doing it as a
Listen.
I
party.
want to enter in my opinion. If I am fair, I can have to agree with Akil here.
Thank you.
Of course.
No,
No, don't be like that. No,
Okay,
Kimar, come on.
no.
Kimar, don't be like that. Neither. Don't be like that,
Let me
please.
go ahead. Let me finish my
Go ahead.
point.
Because we get Jackie Jack on this
Because
program.
commentator
Come on.
said there's too much bundling, too much crosstalk. So let's just be a little more.
It's called conversation.
Alright.
Moving on.
It's hard for the
Respect-
listeners
No,
to
that's
hear.
disrespectful.
Come on,
No,
come on.
respectfully.
Conversation.
Respectfully.
Go ahead.
In the 1976 Tom Adams Manifesto, it was a promise to the Barbadian party to remove the 11 plus since then. So I don't see how it is possible that into 2020 that the minister could come and say we're changing it and she don't know what she's changing it to. So in
You can't
60
make that say you can't say she knows you changed it too.
It would have been
That
nice
was
for
like a
us for her
statement.
to tell us
But
this.
what I am saying,
Listen.
what I'm
Like
saying
a
is,
statement.
It would be
I am
nice
saying
for
is,
her to
since
tell us.
19
But it's like you're like the last party,
Do you know?
is wanting to carry on a lot of borrowed legacy.
Do
that
you
they
know
made.
what is coming?
Listen.
Do you know?
Listen.
Do you know?
Guys,
Listen.
cross
One-
talk.
But let's
I do.
No, let's talk.
if it
Let's
is that is a party principle, since in the 1970s,
to remove it.
there would have been some conversation internally as to what the country
There
would
should
move
have
to
been.
if there was no 11 plus policy or policy not. My thing is, policy is about conversation and building on top of that. Things evolve over time.
Evolve.
So
Let
if
us
in
have
1976 the
conversation.
government said, okay, we're going to remove 11 plus, they didn't say it to walk. But if you come back again in 2020, all of that time we should have had a building conversation nationally
I agree.
about
I don't
what.
necessarily
Before you
agree.
make a statement that you're bringing
Without,
to
without,
the date.
without engulfing party lines, we should have had a because we had time and time again to experiment what we could have moved to. We could have had a lot of placebo tests as to what can replace it. Not saying that we had to do it immediately, but the fact that the
It's a
minister
forerunner.
made the announcement is an attempt to try to garner that conversation, so it will give them that much credit.
Yes.
But no, I don't think we should be rushing I don't think we should do any hodgepodge work.
But you think they're rushing at this time?
I never said
She
they're
did
not.
set a timeline.
He's making a very strong point, and you can't
She did
disagree
set a
with
timeline.
it.
She
You
said
can't.
this
Hold on, but I
combination
can't.
would be
But
last.
listen to
But-
what
but-
Kimura said. You can't disagree with it. What he said, she made the announcement. It would have garnered conversation. She'd probably been flooded with numerous proposals.
Correct.
And given the time she made the announcement, you would have had given maybe 6 months before the new school term that you could have had an ordinary term in an ordinary period. You would have had January, February, March, April, and by even May, you could have had a solid set of discussion
Let's hope they
that the
come.
policy.
Or white
But
paper
we've then
or
had,
so.
but we've had
COVID.
So let's
5
hope
months
those discussions
interrupted.
come.
Yeah, but hold on, that's assuming the same timeline was in play. But with COVID, we can't make these
But
assumptions.
Kevin, who said that
Let's
she's
move
not
on.
even going to let the 11 plus run the next year? Because
Right,
of
exactly. That's what I'm
COVID
saying. So we
What
don't
I'm saying,
know,
we
and
don't
the
know.
ministry will
Even
make
if
the
she
rest
does,
announcement.
even if she
I
does,
wanna
the
say-
fact
I
that
want-
she has announced that there will
This was
be
in
a
January.
significant
A lot has
policy
changed
change.
since January.
What I am saying, engage us as to what we are going to.
But
Okay, but that's
This is
imperfect.
time,
That was in
the time,
January.
the
This is
times
now.
that we're in,
This
it's
is
a little
now. A
different.
lot has happened between the announcement and then. Let us wait and see what the ministry says because we don't know. We can't have that conversation like she
I-
made it yesterday. We intend on changing it tomorrow now because the playing field has changed.
I want to say
All right.
something. I want to say
I
something.
think we've kind of exhausted this.
Right? I want to say something.
Well, we roll on here.
In
No,
nine-
he was-
you made a point that in 1976 in the
Well,
Barbados State Party
okay.
manifesto that it was stated that the common entrance would the common entrance would be removed. In 2020, the Minister of Education on the same Barbados State Party again has again said that the common entrance would be removed. So a political pundit would say that this is warming over cold soup, right? The reality is that in between that time, what strikes me is that you have had both the Barbados Labour Party and the Democratic Labour Party in power, and between 1976 and 2020, no Minister of Education, no government has, and it is true.
That's not technically true.
Hold on, it
because in
is.
1994-95,
Here.
Lemon did make changes to the common entrance examination, which is Minister of Education.
But the
and there
common
were
entrance-
changes to it, and
but
even
the
for the
common
allocation of
entrance
schools,
exam
introduced
still-
zoning,
the common
and that's
entrance
right.
zoning.
The
Hold on.
exam at 11 did not. You're still an exam, but what the execution of the exam did change. Even who wrote the exam changed. Before it used to come from overseas, then CSC started writing the papers. There have been changes. There's not been whole-scale revamping of the sort, when we speak about educational reform that we would like to see, as in the discussion we had earlier, but that's probably where we hope we would get in terms of where schools go and where they go. But let's wait and see what the ministry does. That conversation is on pause.
But
clearly,
the
that's
point,
on
the
pause.
point, the real point I want to make is that
sure.
sometimes a minister has to take executive decision and do what he got to do, because if you
But
continue
then you
to
will start for
listen,
it right down.
no, I wouldn't actually.
No.
I wouldn't, because
there will not be a decision you like,
Listen,
and it will
I
still
would
be
Here,
hope
the
that
truth
a
is,
Minister
right?
of Education does not take an executive decision on my child's future.
Well,
I
she's
want-
being
why not?
elected to do that.
I
Why not?
want.
She's being elected just that you elect
But
your
let's-
party.
let's-
Just that you will want to elect your party to make an executive decision on us is the same way.
Let me
To
know
be
if-
fair.
let me know when I can respond.
Go ahead.
Now we are talking about
Oh.
education. This is something that shapes the future of a person.
Yeah.
And the
Now,
country
if
too.
you are going to change the entire system that I have grown accustomed to, I need to know what you're changing it to.
Yeah,
You
but-
cannot just make an executive decision
So
because we made you a
No,
minister.
but-
okay, but
change
let's-
the entire system.
I understand
I understand where he's coming from, but
Yeah,
let's
but-
have it in the reality
Let's
of what
have
today
dialogue.
is. Let's have it within the
There
conversation
will
of what
always-
reality
there
is.
will always
There would have been a
be-
consultation.
Right,
There will never a perfect system that everybody will agree with.
True.
But let's have the conversation based on the minister's statement. Because not having a conversation on education reform and what we think should replace it. We having a conversation debate that the minister said something and you don't know what it is.
You know-
But as today, because that was in January, as today the
COVID,
playing
right?
field, the landscape
Changed.
has changed.
And
We
we
have
have
not
to
sure
appreciate
we
it.
wait and we will expect to see.
You
what it
know
is.
what I respect about the minister's decision? The fact that she did not come and tell Barbados that we ain't got another commission inquiry. Because they find that that's the favorite thing for most opposition parties. We want a commission inquiry, we want to talk about this and we want to talk about that, and
You
nothing
investigate
ever
that.
happens.
Investigate
So you
that.
know what? The
But if-
minister take executive action, do what she got to
Question
do,
number 2.
and hopefully things will get
All right, so
better.
let me
We
move
will
on.
see where the ministry
Let's
goes.
let's move on to the
Give me
next
that
topic.
substance.
I just want to say though, yes, we know that it was mentioned in January. We know what Barbados has been through over the past couple months.
We're still
Just
going
give
through.
them time. Akil, I don't think that this minister, I mean, speaking about Sandy Bradshaw,
I know her well.
will come. Okay, you know her well. I know you know
don't
her
know
well.
her. I know
Will
her
come and bring and push anything on our plates
Like the
without
last
having a
administration.
discussion.
Beg
You
your
know
pardon?
that will not happen.
That's
So
it,
just
man.
wait on it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Next topic.
Yeah, shit, we're known for that.
Yeah, what role do youth have in shaping Barbados and the future? Barbados for the future.
Right. So, I was one of your
I feel
questions.
you could go first.
Yeah. What
Well,
role
I
is
think
it?
the youth have a very important role. As a matter of fact, I think all the young men here sitting at this table have an important role to play. But I believe that the system of governance needs to change so that the youth can play that role.
I agree.
I think the system that we use prohibits youth
When you
involvement
say
to some.
system, Aki, just to stretch it out a little bit. When you say system, you're talking about policy, politics, people. What are you
The
talking
entire
about?
system of governance.
Governance.
Our governance system has not changed from eons ago.
I don't quite agree because Kevon could add to this.
Make a point.
In the last election, I can say for a fact that Mia Molly and the Barbados Labour Party has used the youth much more than in other previous elections that I've
previous
witnessed.
party.
Now, I can
Yeah.
agree with you when you speak about election campaign, but I am speaking bigger than that.
So
I
you might
want to
care,
see
but
youth.
That's a start.
I
That
want.
is a start.
I agree, it's a
Yeah.
start.
Yes,
but
a point.
since
Go ahead.
she,
But I want to
since
say something as well.
she did have a lot of youth involvement in the campaign, but I am not seeing a lot of youth involvement in governance
Government.
of society.
I get it.
What
And
you
that is
say-
what I want to see more of. I want to see more opportunities available to young people in governance.
All right, go ahead.
I must be fair. Of course, you know that I am a supporter of the Democrat Labour Party. However,
Member.
and a member too, of course, a member. That's
Right.
that all in time, but
Debatable.
yeah, that's debatable. But I think for me, what I have seen, what is pleasing is to see the composition of the Senate. We have, and I must give credit where credit is due. This administration has a lot more younger persons in the Senate.
But can we say they're youth?
Huh? But no, but representing Dr.
Yeah,
Crystal.
yes, they
but
are.
yes, Dr.
Got Damian Sands
They
there.
were Damien Sands, Dr.
I just
Crystal
want to bring down
Hayes.
That's youth, yeah.
Crystal
We
Hayes,
have
under
Crystal
40.
traits that I believe
Yeah,
we all
Crystal
know by now.
Right,
right,
she have
right.
Crystal
She has
traits
been
too.
performed. She has been
But
performing
she's
incredibly
not
well
for
for the
government.
opposition.
But she's not for the government. But what
But
I'm
she's
saying,
for the opposition,
but
she has
good.
been performing
She's
incredibly
very
well.
She's really
Right,
represents
right,
us.
right.
Very sound on policy, huh?
Regardless,
Very sound on policy.
I heard it here.
Oh, wait, stop.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, all the backing going on, yes. So what I want to say is that by having strategically placing young people in positions where they can actually speak with regards to laws and so on is a start.
Yeah.
But we say we want to see more young people in parliament, but we need to see younger candidates. But that's where it starts. And for me,
We had some young candidates this election.
right? So for me, if we're talking about young people being involved in the governance of the country, what all the political parties must do, DLP, BLP, PDP as well, we have to be able to attract young people. And I think that is where the challenge is. Not only the attraction of young people outside of elections, but retaining the interests of young people,
I think
not
this
only
is
in
so
politics.
partisan.
Before you go
but
through here,
governance.
right? Let me just add my contribution to this. Now, when we speak of governance, there are layers to governance,
course.
and you would have highlighted the Senate and Dr. Haynes and Damien
Sands.
Sands at that level. But when we come down to the levels now within the ministries, every single board that we've appointed as
Of young
government for lack of a better word, been littered with
Young
young people.
Yeah.
There's some boards that the majority of the people are under 35.
That's
So
very
there was a commitment in the manifesto to say that we're going to place young people in these institutions as part of the governance process, and that has occurred.
And some
I guess
are even chairman.
and some are even
And
chairman
chairman.
of boards at the same time. If we go into our own party, our first vice president, our second, third vice president, our executive has 4 people on it under the age of 35. Our executive
Very
of the
good.
party. So at all levels,
very
there's a
good.
commitment to make sure that we involve and build, and particularly people gaining that experience. So when we speak to governance, we're not just speaking necessarily only to what happens in parliament. And yes, we will always want to see
So
more
where
of
there are no
us.
young people,
and our
no,
votes.
no,
Hold
wait,
on,
wait,
hold
wait.
on.
I wanna go to
We
what
would
you're
always
saying.
want to see more of us at that table, and we would, and that's something nobody can ever deny. But there was a commitment to involve young
You've
people
seen
at
it.
all
You've seen
levels.
it.
And
I
you've
see
seen
it.
that.
I see it.
That's the story.
agree,
And
I
we-
agree with what you're saying, but it
I see
also
it.
moves me to a point I wanted to raise. The system is too partisan. and that has not served us well in the past, and I do not believe it will
Hold
serve
on,
us
before,
well. Let me just
no,
finish.
I wasn't finished, so
respectful.
let me come back.
But I think
I
the
wasn't
system
finished, so
is
let me
flawed.
come back.
Okay.
I wasn't finished, so let me come back to
All
that
right.
and see you want to
Hold on,
finish.
Akil,
I think
don't
it's
lose it.
disingenuous to say that our system has not served us in Barbados well. Our country generally has been well governed. I think it's very disingenuous for us because we're in a political debate to say
Even
no,
the last
that our
10 years too
system
was well
does not.
That's debatable.
Well, that's
Even the
debatable.
last-
But you
even
do
the last
agree-
10 years it was
But I
well
don't
done.
think
But
it is.
you
I
do
don't
agree-
think it is. I don't think it is fair to put those blanket
But
like
would you
American
agree that the
talking points
system
on the
is too
table.
partisan?
Listen, every system, and it's the same thing with common interest. Every system, you can look at it, you can see pros and cons, you can see a different and alternative, and that's going to lead to a debate.
think-
But what we're going to argue on particularly youth involvement in politics and how they play and develop in the future is how do we involve and get the ideas. A young person, as was mentioned earlier, may have a different point of view, and if you can get that point of view
I
at the
think-
table going forward, then
I
we can
think
have a
political
different
polarization of the youth is not serving the purpose that we want. I do not
Explain that.
believe in the political polarization. For instance,
But we're not in a communist country. Everybody can say
because
you
you are
say-
a member,
Let's hear his point.
because you are a member or supporter, or your family supporter of the Barbados Labour Party, and the Barbados Labour Party is in government, you can say nothing wrong about the Barbados Labour Party.
But then you can say that about your party, the Democrat Labour
No,
Party.
no, you can't say that
I
about my
can't say
party.
that.
You need to make fair statements.
No,
to
I
that.
wanted you to make the fair
Our-
statement
our
now. Because
party-
you scrutinized one, but you're
Alright,
going to make a fair
finish. I like to
statement
be
on.
respectful.
No, you're going to scrutinize one to say the Barbados Labour Party, you can't do this.
Yeah.
But then you're going to come now and say to your party, you can.
I think
So
it
it's
not
not
be
fair.
the
Yeah.
purpose.
Alright, let him finish.
because
Please,
you only
let
make-
Akil
I think
finish.
with a partisan system, you defeat the purpose because all you're creating is political tools to be manipulated by the hierarchy of that party. And that has not served us well, and I think we need to move away from that. And the PDP, I can tell you, when you read our manifesto, when it comes, you will see difference. There will be a difference from what we are accustomed to, and that's what we want to move away from. This partisanship and this polarization that is hurting Barbados.
It seems like it.
I got a
Just-
question.
hold on.
Wait, I got a question.
Right.
My first, all right, let me just make my points first. I think you are right in some instances, and what you're saying do have a lot of merit.
Thank you.
Right? I think young people are used as tokens for I would say elder persons to get forward in politics. And then when you get your minister role or what's not, then you neglect the senior youth who would have helped you to accept for the person who you choose to groom for the future. But also young people need to take some personal responsibility.
Exactly my
and
point.
know, don't go around behind people for promises,
Yeah.
because in the real world,
We sell short.
right, in the real world, you cannot allow people to come and use and manipulate you like that and then create victim, right? Because we claim that we want to be adults as you hit not even 21,
18.
but 18. So if you're an adult and you want to be in the big boy league, then you can't be crying foul when you're playing big boy football.
Get hit. You get tackled hard.
We as younger people need to first get the education and then look to ourselves something as opposed to looking to the politician. Because the same way the politician looking for support, we can look for support too.
See where we can build them, we can build we.
So, right. So my question now would be to of you all. You all running next election or have plans to run? Because the question is,
I just have that question.
right, the question is no. About youth participation in politics.
That's right.
So the direct question, no, can we look forward to seeing you two young men?
Don't let me say the two. Don't let me point out. They have members at this
Alright.
table with
The
political
question
address.
can go wrong,
So let me say the table.
I can give it
With
to
the exception of me.
panelists,
I don't have any
Yeah, right.
ambitions.
Let's make sure, Jeremy.
Don't let me get
Long
distracted.
week
But don't
eaters.
let me get distracted.
Yeah.
Let's take on. Right, so
You
y'all
want pelting up?
y'all free to
Leave him
comment
alone.
on
The
it.
man is free. He's free to share his opinion.
But if I just may before you all comment, I think I have to agree with Keymar in a lot of sense that
You
at
talking
times
sense.
that we as young people definitely sell ourselves short.
It's true.
From the moment you sell yourself for 50 cents, you can't come and tell me you're worth $1. And that has been always our problem in it. And then we also have to understand as young people where our future lies.
Correct.
If it is that you're running both behind a future MP or an MP in a election, and you're doing that to serve the MP or to serve the constituent, then you're just serving.
Correct.
And you have to
But-
understand that serving. If you're looking for something, I will go to the MP or the future MP and say, hey,
This is what you want.
this is what I want. And if you can't give me that, let me ship over to somebody that may be able to give me what I want. And I think that
That's
we
the
do.
problem.
Yes, but I understand that. But the problem is then we have this great expectation that just because Akil Daly is in politics and he know me, I'm supposed to be given everything that I ask for the job, the house, at NHC and everything. And that is where then we then get vexed.
We can't get promises.
And then that is why we then lose our dignity as young people. I'm saying that if you know this is what you want, there's nothing wrong with going to Kevin and saying this is what I want. But if you run about behind an MP or a minister just to serve. But don't come and blame the MP because you don't get a job.
Kimar asked the question about
political future,
our political aspirations, and I would like to know his.
Mike?
Do you intend to run?
You know, right into that one.
Do you intend to run?
But I ain't hearing the boy answer.
I don't answer.
You can't ask a question with a question.
Okay,
go ahead, sir.
So you are giving me your word that when I answer your question, you'll answer mine.
You know, broker those deals.
Now, for the benefit of the viewing public, I will answer the question. The PDP has not embarked on the nomination process of candidates so far, so I cannot say that I will or will not be a candidate in an upcoming election.
Would you like to be?
However, I can tell you the way how I view service is that it's not a matter of if I want to run or not. To me, it's a matter of if my community wants me to represent their interests. I'm answering the question. It may not be the way how you see things, but this is the way how I see things.
Political.
You blame Patrick King.
Now, when you're finished, I like to be respectful, so I'll let you finish. No, if I may be allowed to finish the point that I was making.
Hold on, let me finish.
The way how I view service, it is not about me. It is about the needs of the community. I'm very involved in the community that I come from, very well known in the community that I come from.
You think there's a need?
So if they want me to represent their interests in the House of Assembly, I would have to consult my family about that and see if their interests are aligned. And if everything is fine, then we will go.
But no, I have a much simpler answer.
You're all may do it differently, but that is the way how I
again, we're talking about young people. I think the topic is about young people involvement into politics.
So I'm available to
my thing is, we have to let the viewers know we're serious as young people. That kind of answer that you give is one I would expect from a seasoned politician.
I don't discount it because my answer is very simple. I agree with Akil to a certain point, and this is really hard to see.
A lot of people agree with me tonight.
You're going to see. Akil be agree on a lot of things for many years. So, but let me finish. The thing is, one thing about running and being involved in Parliament, you go to the House of Representatives. So if people want you to serve them, they will ask you, they will tell you, and then you make the people, a constituency, a group of people. So in our party, I'm a member of the Barbados Labour Party. I work at the service of the Barbados Labour Party. I'm president of the League of Young Socialists, not to do Cameroon any good, but I want at the end of the year that it is a better organization than I got it at the beginning of this year. And the same way is if a branch asks or requests that they would like me to be the candidate or something, so then you will see what happens. The branch, the people in the branch, and that's where it goes. I can't come and say I want to run and I can run and people not interested. It's not about what I want. It has to be about people and you got to be willing to serve people's interests. When they come knocking at 2 o'clock in the morning, you got to be a person that willing to answer that call.
I would like to hear
regardless. But before we get to Kimar, no, I'm honest. I don't like to confuse the people viewing. The people don't select us until one day, which is called election, or in some cases where we have nomination.
That's elected.
There's nothing wrong with saying I will make it simple for all of one of them. I would like to represent the people of this country.
Very good.
One day in politics. Reason why? Because I believe that I've done well enough to represent a constituency in Barbados where people did not look at, and I took up the mantle and I raised it to a set of bar. And I believe that I, as a young person, have made a difference in this country and could continue making a difference to the level of policy. That is the answer that we believe as young people. Yes or near to the people, because when the youth sitting down there watching, they're saying either these are our future leaders or they're not. Or do we need to look elsewhere? Because we have to determine now in our time if we want to be the
Well
future
said,
leader.
Kimar.
for
Well
the
said.
Yeah, but that's
So-
good,
so-
Kimar. But
so-
look at it this
so,
way
so
too. We're
Kimar
members of a
Safri-
political party, Kimar Safri,
Pardon?
and we're members of a political party.
That
And
we include you,
I,
Kumar?
it can include all of us at the table, members somewhere or the other. So
You said we are.
I said we all are
So-
members
so
of political
I-
parties.
We
So
all are.
We all are members of a political
As I'm
party.
searching for members.
You know,
No, hold on. Let me finish the point, right? When and I say by service, when it comes down to service,
Yes, it does.
I don't have to be a candidate to serve or to be a leader in the country. Sometimes you can be interested in writing policy and being part of a policy. And say there are different levels of service, and we can't ever let people feel that it is the only way they can serve
Is
and
in
be a part of
parliament.
service. Is in parliament. We have to let people know that service comes at all,
You have to identify
all
where you want
levels,
to
at
be.
all things. Millie Motley once said to us that when she joined the Labour Party, that Billy Miller said and explained to them, you have to be able to do everything from scrubbing the toilets to frying the fish
course.
cakes to speaking on the platform. When
heard
you
that
understand what it is to always
To serve. That's it.
then you will serve wherever you are asked or required to do.
Bloomberg
And that's
planted.
and that's simple. It's not about what I
Agreed.
want to do or
No,
what I
let-
want.
Kumar,
let-
we have
let-
that's why I
answered
believe
the
I can
question.
serve.
We
Let-
have
let
answered your
Kimar
question,
answer.
so can you answer the same question?
Yeah, you entitled.
Well, he did run already, so it's not
He
that
did,
big.
he run already, so that's
so-
it was a redundant, was a redundant
My
question.
Yeah, I mean, you run against
follow-on
Prime
question,
Minister,
my follow-on
so-
question, do you intend to run again in the same constituency that you would have run in
You
last
can
time?
reserve the right on that one.
Yeah, I would prefer not to. So that-
I just want to
I have to ask, I
I
have
just
to
want to
ask.
say something though.
Do you intend to run?
Yes, I do. If I'm given a nod with the party, the
You intend to
internal
run?
dynamics.
What my answer to
No,
that is
okay.
no. Let me answer. My answer to that. If I am given the opportunity to serve the people of Barbados,
Aye.
I will take that opportunity, and I will ensure that the people of Barbados are better rewarded than they are now.
So you're trying to say, so tell me exactly what you're trying to say.
I wish I said
Tell me
it.
exactly what you're trying to
I
say.
get to finish what I want to
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
What I wanted to
We
say
will come
was
back to
that
that.
I think I'm not a
I
Jermaine.
feel very good on this program today among you young people. I still kind of
Oh,
young.
yeah, I feel like you old. Yeah,
Yeah, kind of old.
You want to smile here?
I think so, 38.
42? Sorry.
But no, I've always said that the thing about it is that there's a difference. Everybody says, oh, you're a young person, you're a yard fowl. I tell people there's a big difference between being a yard fowl and being a member of a party. And I can say that you guys are members. I've always heard
Thank
about
you.
you. I've seen the work you've done. And the same thing with you, Akil, and the same thing with you, Kimar. And the thing about being in a political organization is that when it's up, you're up with it, building with it, and when it's down, like how for right now,
Them's down?
I won't say necessarily Dems are down. The Dems are trying to
Under.
reorganize and to you know.
Dems are training. So.
No, we are trying to.
I don't think they're
I think that
trying
we are on the move in terms of getting ourselves together. But after any major defeat, it takes a while to rebuild your confidence.
Yeah.
And that's the truth.
But this is
Right?
not your first major defeat because you got beat 26-2 in 1990.
That's right. That's
And
right.
you rebuilt.
And we rebuilt. And we had
So
Thompson.
you're
So-
very
Did the
experienced in
political
rebuilding.
So I would say that if it comes to rebuilding, yes,
Yeah.
the Dems are very good at rebuilding. But more importantly, the future of politics for me is one where we have to be bipartisan or tripartisan, depending on what's happening
Yeah, 'cause the
on
PDP
certain
is
issues.
here to stay.
There you go. On certain issues, there are certain things that we should be critical of as political organizations. I mean, with regards to how we see the future of Barbados, for me, it's always an issue of methodology. The Barbados Labour Party would want to take Barbados the same place or on a far journey that all the political parties want to do, but you do it a different way. The Dems try to do it a different way. The PDP would do it a different way.
Definitely.
Akil,
Right.
I
So-
want to make a point to you. The UPP was here to stay too.
I can't speak about
He
that.
can't speak to them. But what I'm trying to say for the future of politics, and we being the future, or we see ourselves as the future for politics, our government in Barbados, is that we have to look beyond sometimes party lines and use people based on their ability. And one of the things that we always remember is that, the whole issue of politics of inclusion
Yes.
under ONARFA, and then you had the whole issue of ARFA Dems. And my whole thing is that we want the best. Right, we got Motley Dems, so I guess they're going to soon. I think we had Stuart Means at one point too.
No.
No, never asked you.
Never.
Never.
No, he
Never.
never.
That's off the table altogether.
No,
But we had talked some bees. We had talked some bees for sure.
Remember, sir,
I can agree with that.
No, anyhow,
Never understood
the point is that we have to, and I would even as our political leaders are watching, use people based on their ability.
Agreed.
Yes, you have to fulfill your quota. There are people who will be long-standing members of your party. They would serve you. Want to give them a berry. That's important. Yeah. But don't allow political allegiance to cloud.
So you agree with Chris Sinclair being on the economic panel?
He was made an offer. Yes, I agree. The prime minister of herself with her team would have sat down and said, you know what, we believe that Chris Sinclair could serve.
No,
in
she
this
said
capacity.
she wanted former ministers of finance.
Oh, he was a former minister of finance. As well as
One wasn't
governor
well
of-
enough to do it.
I beg your pardon?
I said one was not well
Yeah,
enough.
question though, Kimber, do you agree?
If I agree, well,
You walk into that.
if the gentleman has the requisite skills for the
Gentleman?
You think he does?
job, I
He
said,
was a former minister of
at
finance.
the end of the day, though,
that's
if
debatable.
we be realistic, at the end of the day,
I can't see Phil.
No, Fritz.
Mr. Sinclair was the Minister of Finance.
In the harshest economic period that we
You
had.
hold on, you stop.
And some policies coming out of his camp were, I would say, quote unquote, good, particularly NSRL.
Oh, for sure.
Regardless,
That was a lovely one.
regardless
For sure.
of how we
Debatable.
want to look at it.
Very debatable.
It was actually best policy ever.
And my thing is,
learn on
though,
the job.
my thing is though, if the Prime Minister look past all of the mistakes and slip-ups that he would have made to
How much
include him
more?
on the council,
Exactly. How much more?
then the entire country could do the same
if I
thing.
may-
All right, so now we've done the advert for Chris Sinclair. Now we finished the advert for Chris Sinclair.
Let's try
We
another
just
advert.
have to remember
That's what
that.
I was-
We just have to go back to. We just have to. For this point, we just gotta go back to. It is good that as a former minister of finance, he was invited to the table, but we can never lose fact of the politics. In fact, that whether he had ideas or not, implementations won't make the difference.
Right, the difference,
And they
yes.
did not implement. Did not do the things that were necessary to save the Barbadian economy. That's why we have to do the job.
Well,
that we do.
if I
So
may-
now we
the
finish the
harshest
advert for
economic
Mr.
period
Sinclair. We
that
get
we-
back to that.
Why
If I
don't
may
you?
give him a
You know,
chance.
you
During this
know,
global recession.
No, if I
During
could give it a
this global
chance,
recession.
because
Right.
I know our time is coming short.
Yes.
And we do have another question that we
yes.
have to answer.
Go ahead, yeah.
And the question goes, the future of sports in Barbados moving beyond cricket.
Wow.
So
yeah.
I would
Yeah.
like us to have a little discussion on that topic. Especially because, as we know, cricket has been the sport that has
Tossy, Mike.
propelled a lot of young people, especially in this country. But we need to move beyond cricket, especially in Barbados. And I believe the infrastructure need to be constructed for us to do that. If we look at our athletes perform really well at
Regionally.
school level
Mhm.
and in the regional level. But
Terrific.
the step further, we need to have the right facilities in place so our athletes can get to that further step.
I agree.
And I think that the government needs to find a way in such a challenging economic circumstance to find financing to develop those facilities.
One
So,
question,
yeah,
one
one
question though, Akil. How would you, or what ideas will you put forward
PDP.
in terms of funding a sports program in Barbados?
But I believe that there are a lot of avenues to get grant funding for different programs. But you need to compel the correct framework for that program in order to be awarded that grant. So I just think we need to look at the different opportunities out there for grant funding and go after that grant funding. There are some countries that do offer to build stadia for you. We can also go that route. What I'm saying is that there needs to be a conversation. We need to have a national conversation on sporting and the way forward.
But
Yeah,
we-
let me
we make
before
sure-
you that, I just want let me just address the question for a second. I think first thing when I saw it, I was like, why is the conversation about moving beyond cricket? Because Barbados, some countries are good at things. Barbados is good at cricket.
And
Brazil
horse
is
racing.
good at football. Why are you going to lose something? Look at the amount of icons in cricket
You got
and
national.
how many came from Barbados alone? 166 square miles. If there's a couple ways out of poverty in Barbados, and cricket is one of them for
You know, in
professional
India,
days.
they're not moving,
So-
moving beyond cricket.
So the thing exactly, you have so many
domestic
opportunities for
market is
people.
big for
With conversation we should have
How
is
do we
how do
develop
we do more for other sports?
I agree.
But that's
Because
it.
it does- and
I
that's
will
the
go a
conversation
little
where we have
step
to
further
go.
and give you a policy initiative that I think the government could explore.
All right.
Why don't we offer scholarships in areas of sport?
We do.
They do.
No,
But we
I
do
mean,
already-
the government. From the
do
Yeah.
government
academic. They do
level.
more academic. This
Yeah.
is
We
true.
we offer
academic.
academic
So-
scholarships. We
A
do
lot
not
more.
offer sporting scholarships from government.
They come from
Certain
schools.
institutions offer sporting scholarships,
True.
but I'm saying
We
the
black
government can
Yeah.
offer sporting scholarships.
Yeah.
But then-
But listen,
then
I think we
you-
have to. I think we have
you're
to have these
putting-
conversations in a very.
You're putting a
cool-
lot of strain on the government. Everything that you
Yeah.
have said so far is
No,
the
but
government.
what I am
Government.
saying, government
Set the
needs
framework,
to
the policy.
PDP will better
exactly.
count.
Government needs to set the framework, set the policy, and I believe the government right now
Akil.
identifies academics as a strong area because all the scholarships go to academics. What I'm trying to say, there are other areas that governments can offer scholarships to encourage young people to get into those
Akil,
areas.
nobody's gonna-
And one of those areas is sports. Another area is the creative economy, but that's a discussion for
Right.
another time.
I think that has been mentioned already, and I don't think anybody's going to disagree with that as a proposal. But one thing that we have to understand is let's look at. I think we have to have this conversation in the context of now, in the context of what we are dealing with in front of us.
But government's
Now
plan for
we have
future.
to yes, but so that's fine.
But
But we don't. But we still have. I think at this
COVID
point we have to.
was
We
safe
still
for a while.
figuring
COVID
out
was
where
safe.
we go.
Yeah.
But the conversation as it relates to sport is we have to find avenues to have people exposed, particularly in areas that we do well in, and have access to things. We have to be able to have access to facilities that allow people to be able to train at
True.
a full-time basis and to be able to develop in a
Sorry,
high-performance
I wanna make a
center.
point.
And I know that particularly within ministry, certainly Minister of Sport has had these conversations, these discussions already, and it's a matter of getting the right frameworks put in
So I
place
expect to
to
see a
ensure.
policy framework soon. Then.
Well, you would like to see everything come out soon, but we have to understand that when you're working within this framework, that things now are going.
But
But as we know, the cabinet meets for hours on end every Thursday, so you know that numerous papers come forward. But we think we have,
That's a nasty.
but we have.
Okay, biggest cabinet ever.
But
Biggest cabinet ever.
we don't get into that. But one thing we do know is that the policy discussion.
Evidently, we long to happen in this country.
Yeah, reality is that with a big cabinet, yes, you see, expect more production, so they meet low.
Aye,
So that's fine, and we
Fair
accept
enough.
Your
that.
cabinet should have
But one thing that we upset, right, is that
Listening.
everybody understands that sport, and particularly sports and the arts, you see the ministry
Sports
of
and culture, yeah.
sports and culture, is that you have to give people the
St. John
opportunity.
thing,
So it's not attacking cricket, but say how do the other person who's doing judo, the person doing windsurfing,
That's
the other
it.
person in swimming and water polo. We got a lot of water around us.
Yeah.
How do we start to utilize the resources we have around us and implement it? And we know that those policy discussions are happening.
I got a question here.
Hey, hold on. You have something to say.
That's
Go ahead.
what it says. Big question, but the question gets done here.
Yeah.
It's really more. But what we're saying with regards to sports, it has to be
What's this question?
it has to be a more holistic. It has to be a more holistic thing.
That's an ignorant question.
So this is a question for Limar.
Read the question. Hold on. You finished?
I ain't finished yet.
No.
Let the man read the
I
question,
can't read
man.
question. I can't
Man,
read.
no, we can go.
Let the man read the question.
Hold on.
All right. I'm composed. I'm
Let him
composed.
read the
Yeah.
question.
Hold on.
Hey, come on.
I'm composed.
This is after. Go ahead.
Come on, man.
Right.
That's taking the conversation to another level.
But it is.
On
Yeah.
sports.
But
though, on
sports.
Yeah.
But you have something to say.
Right.
Go ahead.
All I was saying is
Go
that
ahead.
the reason why we say we're looking beyond cricket is because Barbados has also been known for producing some of the best boxers, some of the best
Best
jockeys
jockeys.
in the
And
world.
trainers.
And trainers. So I think that what we need to do as well is coming out of COVID is to look at the linkages within Latin America. One of the things that we know, boxing is a really big sport in Latin America. Some of the best boxers come from those South America. So if we can get into some of those training camps and also develop the being bilingual and so on, it will help. Because we have a lot of potential young women and men who are into boxing. So that's one area that we can also look at, as well as the judo and so on. But I think that as a small island, indoor sports is what
Yeah.
we should also focus on. The judo, the martial arts that don't require necessarily
I think
a brand new facility,
But-
but you
hold on,
use
hold on.
what is there.
Give me yours.
I really just want to add. I know we are mentioning about sports, but I want to look at the fact that I'm looking at sports whereas Barbados can make some kind of profit from.
Mhm.
So, for example, we already in the cricket. We know we make from cricket already.
Correct.
Tourism, whatever. Football is another sport that we can look into more. one issues that we have in it regarding sport is that we have a person working 8 to 4 job, leave their work to then go and play a sport or practice.
Yeah.
That can work if you want to go against international competition. So football is one we could start with. Two,
Kill me there.
road tennis. Road tennis is a sport, is indigenous to Barbados.
sport.
We can market that and we can move ahead with that and make big profits from it. We can have a world championship right here in Barbados. That's big for us.
If I could add on the sport, I remember years ago I sent a proposal to the government, the DEM government, right? On like our proposal, it didn't materialize. But one of the things I proposed to them, and I remember hearing some of the athletes coming back to Barbados saying, you know, you win a race or you're going to win a world champion. Remember Ryan Bradford and all those, and they said that yes, they appreciate the land and the car and all of this expensive things that they get after, but it's the fight to get there was on their own. When they ask for funding to buy a pair of shoes, they can't even get it, or whatever the case may be. I said to the government at the time, what we needed to look at was that we look at at least the top 5 sportsmen or sportswomen of every major sports in this country. Take them out of employment. Put them into full employment within the system, and you if they have to get education, they get education. They get the sport development, they get the therapy, they get everything, and they get to train. That when they get to the levels that they need to get at, which is the IAAF or whatever, their performance is not like you work half your body at work and then half your body on the track. So we needed to look at developing those 5 persons in each major sport. As I always said to myself, I wonder if we had put a little bit more money and effort behind we probably would have got gold. So I'm just saying, but I just think that we cannot afford that our Ryan Bradfords or our the guys that are the hurdlers and all of those guys are performing well, and the ladies are performing well. And I even see at times that things that used to hurt me was when the Blackett sister, that lady that used to run real fast, not Andrea Blackett, used to be by Kate Shepherd begging for money to go places. I know. So I'm just saying, if we don't develop them, we would always have, in some sense, yes, they're looking good, and we might think 4th place good, and we might think 5th place good, but we want the 1st place people to do the same.
Right. Just to add to what I was saying, the last point was on athletics and cricket. Athletics is another given. Currently, we're looking at building a new stadium. I think Barbados is a country. Barbados is a country. That's a Democratic party. Not part of that. The Barbados is a country that we have sun 12 months in a year. There are persons in terms of making money for the country. There are countries out there that have the cold and whatever bad weather, like for example England, that the possibility whereas we could build a stadium, whereas it has living quarters. That person come here and say, look, you want to spend a month here in Barbados and try to stadium. The same thing applies in terms of cricket. We have kids in Oval. Teams here come in from playing from wherever.
For that to happen,
train here.
For that to happen, the impetus will have to be on the government to place sporting as a priority.
If I could just answer this question, Limar, just on, while we may be laughing at it, it could be quite serious that people are in the kitchen wearing masks and cooking. I would just suggest you check the GIS page, which is government information, for the protocols, or if not, I think there are numbers that you can reach for, like the polyclinics asking them for advice on this here. I just wanted to just in case
Mr. Stewart had a point. Mr. Stewart had a point.
I know right now that UV is on a trust to develop sports on the island. There's a new sports faculty at KFL offering various degrees in not only just athletic, but the science of sports management.
So this includes sports management, and all of that,
fitness, and all of those things. In secondary schools, we do PE, right? And if you want to learn about the body, otherwise you have to do biology. So I think developing physical education from the primary school levels, secondary school levels, community college would be a good.
We also have PE, so you want me to develop it a little bit more?
Yeah. But most people don't like PE anyway. Right. So I agree with the money's point about people working jobs and then having to come and practice. That is very strenuous. But I think that, and I agree with Kevin's point about we produce some of the best cricketers in the world, Right now we have Jason Holder, the West Indies captain, Roach, Fidel.
Think of it. You got your
We got
England team
6
come
to
from
8
Rico.
players.
So we still
Right,
hard.
So my thing is, something I definitely loved was the UE High Performance Center.
Yes.
Right. I think we need a focus similar to other sports that we have in cricket. However, I don't think, or I agree that the government necessarily have to be funding all of these programs, right? The government could play a role in facilitating, but let's just say we use the concept of the favorite society in sports, where a charitable organization comes and manage the sporting arena, right? So then the government could come up with a subvention to help assist sporting developments until we get to the point where we can then use the profits off of the sporting ventures to be able to fund the non-profit organization. But I think we do our athletes injustice here. We have Suki King, who was the draft king in the world, and he was in the paper crying regular for support.
I agree.
My thing
Listen,
is,
the thing is,
But before you go, I just want to add to what Mr. Stewart was saying. I agree that, and I want to take it a bit further. I think we need to establish a national framework with national protocols that govern national players. So if you're a national player for the country in any sporting discipline, there needs to be a national framework and a set of protocols that govern you, whereby how you will be paid, you know, how the discipline should benefit you.
Correct. What you're expected to do too.
We need to set protocols in sport to propel our sport industry. Is an industry, you know.
So PDP have these policies put in place that if and
they
when
won't have them. They won't have them yet. They're not trying to develop our manifesto.
If I can address that
Yeah,
question,
I will let the party.
if I can address that question, it is interesting that we are sitting at a table with representatives from the governing party, representatives from the former governing party, and the newest party to the table. You are asking for initiatives. It's interesting that you will bypass the two parties and come to
You're the one
developing. We have a manifesto.
Your job is to also
I will
show
be
that you.
respectful until you're finished, and then I will continue.
Right. Okay. Good. That case, then we have. Yeah, go
But
ahead.
no, your job is to show us that your
That
party's ready.
And I think the performance
Let
of
me
our
go call
party
her here
thus
now.
far will show that.
come on.
Okay,
That's debatable.
Yeah. Then I call it.
Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, good night. I know you're all on the topic of sports, but I just try to get him my 2 cents. What do you all see or think of when it comes to chefs? Okay, the other day I was cooking, and then the inspector of the COVID came over. She looked in the kitchen and she saw we had all the masks, but not out to our face. Then she was like, "Yeah, you gotta put on your mask." But my argument to her was, "How can I put on a mask up to my mouth when I'm a chef and I'm trying? I have to taste actually everything that comes up this kitchen."
That's right.
I have a dirty hand because I be touching this, I be touching that. To put that hand on this mask every minute, I gotta take it down to taste this and to taste that. I just feel that some of these rules that have been set out by the COVID needs to be reviewed in certain ways. I can understand the waitresses or bartenders have this mask on because they have to interact with the general public. But when you're in the kitchen, when you come in, maybe you put together a law stating that when we come to work, we have to get the workers, the employee must get a monitor check, and we gotta be written down with name or whatever the case. Okay. So at the end of the day, you know that we good when we come to work. So at the end of the day, when I'm in the kitchen, I have to speak to staff. We have to interact. We have to taste food. We have to do this. Unless we go there, we can be having food coming back to the kitchen because we don't know what we are sending out. So that's my point. But note there that very behind the scene, and I'm not asking for excuse to us, but what it is just hard. So I feel some of these rules need to be reviewed. So I just want to hear what your point on that is.
I understand.
Thank you.
I can agree with the caller on that with regards to the kitchen, and you're a chef preparing meals for all these different persons. It's not practical to have on a mask while you're cooking. Number one, the heat, right? And my whole thing is this: if you are a chef What should be happening is that you should be getting tested. You should be getting COVID tested at least once a month or even more. So, because if you're working in that environment and you're cooking food, you should not. It should be no guesswork about if you have COVID or not. You get your test, whether it is that part of the COVID monitoring team comes to these various places and test the person and they get the results.
Well, that's every
Or
day,
whatever.
then.
Not necessarily every day, but at least once a week.
That's the
or-
only safest way.
That's the safest way.
But my thing is,
But it's
that
not practical to be cooking and you cannot taste food or you cannot, you know, I mean, you're wearing a mask
Smell
and
your
eat
food too.
and smell the food
but
too.
what I could do,
There is a bigger issue though about COVID protocols for the hotel industry when they reopen to accept all the tourists in. Because seeing how he runs, we would say a restaurant on the coast, what happens now to a bigger kitchen in the hotel in the
That's
express
right.
room? How would you expect all of these chefs to
Sous chef, pastry chef, everybody.
what I could do though is definitely reach out to the COVISAR to ask a question, because again, like any talk
That's what
show,
we do.
people always ask questions and we gotta be mindful.
We got-
We gotta try to facilitate it.
It'd be good to have
That's
a
the
design.
chick.
But I would
Yeah.
speak to the COVISAR and
We should get
ask
these are-
if there is a way that things like this could be looked at. And again, I think Kevin said it correctly, that the government is very accommodated and is always willing to accommodate based on things that I honestly know the struggles of having to wear the mask, especially when the COVISAR made the warning yesterday
The
that
events.
that the events and stuff like that. And one of the things I do at my building here is make sure that all of my staff wear masks, and
And
every
sanitize.
one of the homeless that comes into this
That
is
building
true. I
is
saw that. I saw
sanitized
that.
and
I
get a
saw
mask.
that. They
I
have
saw
to
that.
wear
And if they don't come, I
I
say,
saw
put
that.
on your mask, put on your mask.
saw that.
I have enough masks upstairs that even if
Give
they
it.
don't have one, I
You
give
give.
it away.
That's it.
So those are things that we understand. I know people say they can't breathe, so I think we have to relook the mask with getting the mask with the filters that people could breathe properly. So you have to know your because I know somebody with asthma. One of the homeless said, "Look, I have asthma, and every time I go behind one of these cloth, I feel like I get dead." So we have to look at
How
these
safe are
filters.
those cloth
All right, just
Yeah,
just
it is
before,
safe.
yeah,
that we have on a mask. We as humans, we breathe, we inhale oxygen and we exhale carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is very dangerous for the human
Yeah.
to actually inhale.
Yeah.
And when you have on a mask,
Thank God for electric
you're
buses.
just you're inhaling, exhaling the same thing,
Carbon dioxide.
which isn't good. Even today I was in the office and I had on the mask. I mean, breathing was one, but then having the mask around my ear was very, very uncomfortable. That was a long period of time.
No problem. Just we
Yeah.
can get back on, but I will reach out to Zara, and for the question, no, PhD did not sponsor the show. We're just drinking bottle juices.
But if anyone that is there wants to
We
sponsor,
welcome the spot. We welcome the spot.
But I know you made the point about these czar. I would call him Caesar. Already. The laws,
Caesar was
the
a good
laws,
leader.
the
let's
laws,
get back to sport.
the laws that the czar are seeking to impose in terms of lockdowns. And
Czar can't
Government.
impose anything by it.
yeah, he's
Yeah,
just
he's
about
our
it.
guy.
Zara is the
Zara-
spokesperson.
Czar is just basically
Okay.
a consultant.
all right,
Yeah, and
but
mouthpiece.
and
We can bring in the
realistically,
go Zara. Marby would
But
seek to have him in the
realistically-
show.
Yeah.
Will he come?
he is
Oh, we
saying
have to
for
try.
in
Much
the
rather scrap.
morning and
Don't
Barbadians
understand.
are not adhering to protocols.
Which is
what's
not
what's
true.
right? There was a time when Barbados was COVID free.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cases that
Imported
popped up
cases.
were from persons who were coming in to
There's most of them.
the
All the
island,
imported cases.
right? So how it is now that we internally are adhering to our protocols so well that we were COVID free, then the government decides to open the borders to bring in tourists, and then the czar is saying that
Champagne
Barbadians,
papi.
trying to blame Barbadians for the spike in COVID. Now,
But
I don't-
I don't think it was the intent to blame them for
But,
the.
to
Alright,
be-
let me
to
get
be
it
fair-
right, and then
wait.
definitely
Yeah.
you could reply on
my
that one.
my thing
Yeah.
is right now we cannot
I?
afford
Yeah, you can
another,
different.
we cannot afford tighter restrictions, particularly on business, and we cannot really realistically seeking to take minivans off the road and shut
Not
down people's
practical.
business,
Not practical.
because right now we have 40% unemployment in the island. And while I understand these are problems, I don't think a heavy-handed approach like that is
Agreed.
needed.
But the Czar doesn't have the power to do anything.
But
Stop saying it's far
It's
better
a-
to say
it's a
just-
suggestion,
alright,
it's a
yeah,
suggestion.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, no, I don't think
We
it's,
did not elect the Czar.
I don't really want to discuss the
I
COVID
will.
protocols to any great extent. But the reality is that it's a difficult position to be in. I don't think it's a tech to be heavy-handed, but just remind people to stick to the requirements, that the protocols. Wear your mask when you're indoors someplace and follow the protocols where
Protocols
possible.
for social gatherings.
Yeah,
really.
I don't think it's a
So
tech
if
to
you go
be-
to a party, are you supposed to have on your mask at all times?
You should.
Party?
If-
You
if-
should.
yeah, if that's-
Where-
if
yes,
that-
you should.
If that's the
But
case,
that-
Because
Yeah.
what's happening, and it's not practical, but what's happening, because I've been to events and for a lot of Bajans and we were all healthy. I'll leave it there. But the
Healthy.
reality,
So the opposite.
we're all
So you're
good.
saying that we should all have on our masks
We,
at all
we're
times?
supposed
So,
to. What
sir.
people do, what's happening really is that we wear the mask to get in.
Yeah.
But then maybe get in.
But
True.
how practical is it to party in a mask?
But no,
I know.
can we
It's
can we
not
can we
practical.
talk can we talk practicality?
If it's not,
If
yeah.
it is, listen, there's certain parts I didn't know. This is what is paid for us to also read international news. When we talk about a heavy hand, because if we are doing things that are wrong, I believe the hand should come down on us. Just like if we was wrong, we peers come down on we. The thing is, there are certain parts of the world that if you do not wear the mask, you're charged.
Of course.
You're put in prison the same night.
That's right.
So we can't say, oh, this
Yeah, I
is
saw
heavy
that
hand.
picture of
Talk
the
to
Prime
That we
Minister
are a
with
heavy
Thomas
hand because
Yeah, go on,
we do not
I didn't see what
think.
you have.
You understand?
If I may,
I didn't
So
see it.
go ahead.
no,
No,
I'm
sorry.
glad
Not
we
good.
are to this issue on COVID-19 and the protocols. As a matter of fact, the PDP only made a statement about this
Yes,
yesterday.
yesterday,
We
that's
had a
right.
press conference and made a statement. Now, I understand the need to reopen the country to facilitate business. However, the PDP has an issue with the relaxing of some of the previously employed protocols when it comes to entry of the entry to the country. I believe that all persons coming into the country should go through some mandatory quarantine period because we were COVID free in Barbados. So the only way COVID can come to Barbados
Imported
again
cases.
is
Imported
by
cases.
someone from the outside, whether it
True.
be Barbadian or tourists coming into our shores.
Well
So
said.
to protect
I
the
agree.
population
Yeah,
against
right.
that and to mitigate for that from happening, I think a responsible government would mandate any single person coming in to do a period of quarantine.
How long
First
do
of
you
all,
want
first of
Let me
all,
get
first of all,
No, I
let's go back.
believe
No, you-
No, I believe the period of quarantine can. We have to be guided by the scientists for that.
WHO.
So
Yeah.
I am not going to speak to the period, but as a layman, I believe if a country had 0 cases and we are a country surrounded by water, the only way cases can come here is either by
By
air
boat.
or by sea.
That's
want
right.
to-
So
But I'm
if-
glad. I'm
so
glad.
if-
saying that.
No.
He's not
So-
saying
so-
that.
so-
Give him a
so,
chance.
so
Give him a
if
chance.
if we place a mandatory quarantine period on any person coming in, it would seriously negate against the virus being able to be transmitted from that said person to anybody.
Okay, so the
Let me
thing
hear-
is,
let me
right,
hear
is
it.
that you said it best, that the science should dictate what happens. And I don't know when the government got irresponsible, because I remember we've been praising how good they
I never
handle
said they
COVID.
were-
So I'm just making sure that that's what you were saying, but letting you know that they have been responsible at this point, being guided by science.
I think-
And being guided by science, it said to us that the protocols exist in the way they are because you have to be able to be fair to people. Now, if you're coming from a country with a virus incidence of less than 1%, like Canada, there's the science says that is low. Also, just remember, no, let me finish. Hold on. And then we come back to the point where the Prime Minister said when there were the announcements of the relaxations of the curfew period. Now it's being able that we've been able to refurbish hospital, refurbish and redirect
Henry,
it to be
you're
able
taking
to work
it-
into
you're taking it to a
quarantine.
different
No, I just
dimension.
reminded the whole conversation. We can't talk in pieces and fragments.
Mr.
and mislead
Henry-
the public.
No, let's-
So hold
let's
on.
finish, let's
So hold
finish.
on.
The Dos
So
Santos
now that
is
we
that
have, so now that we have the facilities to be able to manage COVID, because we're not going to be able to live COVID free in the world, it is impractical and impossible, and we cannot keep
We have to manage
with
it.
40,000 people unemployed, newly unemployed.
What's it
We
called?
cannot keep. We
What's
cannot
that
keep.
Arsenal's point, though?
We cannot keep the country particularly closed and keep people away from work. And the way they've explained it to people is that at the point that we can manage is at the point we will reopen. And using the science, you have low risk, medium risk, and high risk.
No,
And
we
the
understand that, Mr.
same
Henry.
government that's been responsible in managing it, it's the same government
No.
now. And we have to trust that they will not put us at risk
No, I
in these
heard a
circumstances.
visitor that was interviewed on arrival to Barbados.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you heard it, but they said that they came in on that flight that came from Canada.
Mm-hmm.
They said that they took a plane from England because he's English,
Mm-hmm.
so he was able to get from England to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
and come from Canada to Barbados. And as you just indicated, Canada has a very low virus load, so he would not have been mandated to quarantine because of that. So
he would have-
what
would-
I am saying though is that the possibility of an American or a British citizen or any citizen of any part of the world to get to Canada and then come to Barbados, that possibility exists.
Yeah, but
so
fortunately
what
for
I am
us,
saying,
this
a
government implemented the new
responsible-
electronic passport scanning kiosk. When you take your electronic passport and scan it, it captures your data. It will highlight, and even
Where you
before,
been,
when you
where
fill out
you
your
from.
ED form from before, it will highlight. So you can leave Italy and fly Canada and come to Barbados. They will know where you come from, and you will be flagged. And just let's
refused
understand,
entry. You could be refused
exactly.
entry.
So
I
believe
hope
it or
so.
not, we have to understand this
So are
government
we going
has
to
been
refuse entry to
responsible.
people?
I-
And
can-
it is by the
last thing
protocols.
we are issuing welcome stamps. to
Kevin,
people.
to-
I think
Yeah,
we're-
but there's a process to that. Let me get Jermaine and then get Kimar.
we can
Kevin,
wrap.
Yeah, we can wrap it.
to
It's
support-
fine.
To support
As
your
well.
point, right? So the government is being responsible in the way it is actually handling the COVID issue at this given time, and I will give the government that. But I also recognize that apart from the health considerations that Akil is raising, we also have to look at the economic consequences. Because what you are suggesting and the PDP suggestion is basically the shutdown of the tourism
No,
industry
no,
in
it's not.
Barbados.
Don't misrepresent us.
No, I
Don't
don't
misrepresent
think
us.
so.
That's not fair. That's
but
not a
hold
fair
on,
statement.
but hold on,
You're saying
hold
how
on,
to
hold
be guided
on.
by the
Let
site.
me-
It
let me-
is.
let me
So you said
finish.
to be guided by
Let
the
me
site. The
finish.
government has been
Hold
guided
on,
by the
let me
site.
finish.
I will let you.
What is the average vacation period for most people on a yearly basis?
2 weeks.
10 days.
Good. So you come to Barbados, you say you want to come on vacation.
But you got quarantine for
right?
7.
And you got quarantine for 7 or 14
14
days.
Not 40.
For 40.
The
You
PDP
said
was
14 days.
14.
So,
WHO
so,
still saying 40.
It's 14. Yes.
yeah, so when you come to Barbados and you quarantine,
I will let you
and
finish,
you
but I just
quarantine,
want the
hold on.
opportunity to respond.
When you quarantine for 14 days, right? Now that will, if you look at the tourism side of it, it probably will benefit the hotel that you stay in,
Of course.
but it will benefit no one else. And the visitor will probably leave Barbados and say,
From
"I had a vacation."
From Barbadian experience. I understand
So-
that, but you see, right, let him continue. Sorry.
Let I keep responding.
I
Then.
keep-
No, you seriously misrepresented the position of the PDP, and I can't let you get away with that. No one is saying that we want to mash up the tourism industry or anything like that. All we are saying is that we expect when the virus first came to our shores, we issued mandatory quarantine periods for any person coming into Barbados. There was a mandatory 14-day quarantine period. Now, the virus load in the world has increased. It has not decreased. So the virus is getting worse. Yet our protocols have been relaxed.
particular countries.
I agree. It's
Source
in
markets,
particular
source
countries,
markets,
but there are
source
source market.
Yeah,
There are source market
yeah.
countries. So how can
He
you
has a
shut
point.
down a country when the virus load was not at its highest? Now the virus load is even higher. You open back. the
Yeah,
country
but listen,
with more relaxed
but
protocols.
listen, there's no,
I know.
that's scaremongering. There's no,
So you want the country to reopen,
But
but you want
with
more
stringent-
stringent.
Correct.
No, but
That's all
listen,
the case is asking for.
let's be correct. There are no relaxations of any protocols.
All right.
Anybody, let's say we're talking about the United States of America. If you're catching that one flight a week from JetBlue, you have to do the same things that you had
tested
before.
everything.
You're gonna be
Upload
tested
files.
before from our accredited lab. You have to upload it. You have to then get on it. And if you're not tested
Yeah.
before you come here, and you're trapped. Listen, the government was responsible in the handling of COVID, and
No,
only when, and the Prime Minister said it, only when they were know that they were able to have the facilities in place to manage it.
They open
COVID is not going away. They didn't do
no, let
something.
me-
So I don't
let me
feel
get
now that we can
into
sit down.
something.
So it's easy to
If I
tap
can
into the
just
fear.
respond to you.
It's easy to tap into the fear about where things are going to go, and that's
I
understandable.
want to add a
But the
different
government
thing,
has
yeah.
said to you, we've done well. They've demonstrated to everybody that they've done well. They've done the job. They've provided facilities. They have the protocols for how it can be managed. We have to start finding a way
Yes.
to get back to
What was
work, to
important
get
was
the
the
same
testing.
40,000 people and the same 30% unemployed young people into work in a safe way.
But
And
the
that's
testing-
what
but
they've
the
done.
most important
Most
testing-
importantly,
the
the
testing-
people of Barbados have told the government that they have done well during COVID, not to
Exactly.
pat yourself on your back.
They're not patting
Go
us
ahead,
on the back.
Kimar,
People
let me
have
get-
said it.
All right, to add a different dynamic to what we're saying.
Voice the thing.
Realistically, tourism needs to happen from an economic perspective because tourism is the basically bedrock of the Barbadian economy. It has so many tentacles across all different sectors, and livelihoods are dependent on it. I support the need for protocols, enhanced protocols, if we're going to open back up to the tourists.
Thank you.
However, if you look at the source markets that these tourists are coming from, all of these economies are basically hit in terms of jobs and the outlook for, I would say, capacity. So I don't think people are spending as much to travel as quick as we may assume, right? So while I support the government's trust to get people back in with the welcome stamp, I'm looking at the economies of the persons that we are looking to attract, right? And if we open back up we call it the work from Barbados package, we're looking to attract a certain class of Canadian or a certain class of American. But my concern is, will travel be a priority for those persons coming to Barbados? Also, given the issues that we have, particularly we spoke about broadband and internet, and a lot of infrastructure issues that we have.
I can tell you that based on what it said about the request has been.
I think we should.
So
have
what they
another
agree.
session to
Well, they
examine
agree.
this welcome stamp.
Right. Well, I agree with you because I like the idea of the welcome stamp. My concern from an economic perspective is, yes, we need the persons coming. Yes, we need these more stringent protocols, and yes, the government has been doing something to put the protocols in place. If they could be increased tighter, that's up for debate. But we have to look at this thing from a livelihood perspective, from Barbadians livelihood perspective. We need persons coming back to the hotels because we need jobs, and the hotel sector is a large employment
distribution,
of Barbadians.
Yeah, that what Limar was saying. Most of the
But just remember too, right? Just remember too,
too.
only one thing that we have to look at this really is that Rome wasn't built in a day, and all this is free advertising. So who can't come today, can't come tomorrow? Trust and believe they can remember, and we keep hearing it all the time. The ships told you this, and the shipping companies told you this with the cruise ships. They can remember the hospitality that Barbados meted out to them when they were close to the world. And everybody, and whether it's the tourists who here in Barbados doing this and that, and they can't come today or they can't afford to come tomorrow, but they make sure will in 2021 when they got back little income from somewhere, is that all of this is probably into building the brand as Barbados. So ultimately you gotta realize that the government has been responsible, they've been creative, and they've been doing a hell of a good job to be sure that we can survive.
And by saying that,
when you said about the ships just now, I think the best move that Barbados government could have done is accommodated those ships. Because you are right, in future plans,
we become the docking bay.
The ships will because
But
realistically,
the excuse used to be that it's too far to come all the
this-
way
this-
down those
this-
large ships.
This is a test run now.
And we had the
So-
biggest ship in the
so
world
now-
here.
Yeah.
But this is a test run now, and they can say, look, when we were down and things were really bad for us, the only country in Caribbean that did not deny us was Barbados.
Yeah, but they've said that already. They had one ship that had to leave Brazil and came here because there was no way alone lane that accepted them. So you got to commend the government for the job that they did. And I understand that again, Rome wasn't built in a day, but all these breaks go for the benefit of the country.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. We had a very robust discussion. We had a very interactive discussion. I think today was well. I expected us to behave a lot more than the way we behaved. But nevertheless, I want to give the panel a chance to just give any closing remarks to the three topics discussed, and we give you a couple minutes to uninterrupted minute that would be to discuss, and then to close off. Go ahead, Akil.
Okay, first I want to thank the panel for inviting us to the show. I think we had a robust discussion. I do believe that some issues need to be exhausted further. So I am looking for a re-invite in the future, especially to speak about some coming initiatives that the government has announced. But all in all, it was a good show. I do think young people, as we have proven, have a lot to add to discussions in Barbados. So I'm just asking for us to be involved more. And we do look forward to speaking to you a bit more in the future.
Anything on your party's end, or?
Yeah, the PDP is here, as you can see by our performance in the lower house and in the upper house. We are keeping the government on their toes. We have highlighted a lot of mistakes in some bills that have come before Parliament. Yes, I must say the government has been proactive in listening to our recommendations and making the necessary tweaks that they need to. But in the future, we would like some more public engagement before bills are brought to Parliament so as to mitigate the mistakes.
All right, Kevin?
Right, just following up for where
IQ finished off. On public engagement, today we just had the passing in our House of the Integrity and Public Life Bill, which would have been fully exhausted in terms of public engagement. That bill was one of the first that was laid in Parliament when it came, and it went to Select Committee and had, over 800 pages of comments or recommendations. So this is a government that particularly listens and interacts and hears the point of view of the citizens in the process. We understand there's a need to be involved, but from our standpoint, I think we remain committed to young people. We remain committed, as we did in the campaign, in a few ways. We said that for the beginning that the BLP was best for Barbados. We know that to be true, and we're going to prove that every single day for the next 3 years and into the next election. We did it when we put out the Youth Manifesto. We highlighted the areas of focus. We can look at Youth Manifesto and out to the top 10 priorities. We know we addressed at least 8 out to the 10 of those. And in terms of looking at the governance system and the model, there are young people. We have Dr. Springer in the Senate. We got Dr. Haynes in the Senate. We got Damien Sands. And on every single board for every single government institution, young people are participating on them. If I could say, if we use LYS age, which is 35 and under, there are young people on every single board.
So you said 35 and under.
Another.
And how old is Dr. Springer? And
No, but uninterrupted. So. And Jermaine, yourself too, you're a youth member too, and you're on the board too, so don't let me go and talk about it here also. Don't come for me. Don't come for me. So understanding that we got a commitment, as Jermaine can attest to involving young people at all levels of government. And I know we had plans, particularly we have work, particularly in the area of sport, in terms of building out. I know before we had like beach wrestling and the road tennis tournament, the skate park is up now, and different areas to diversification to start to carry us forward. So we know that, again, our manifesto thing, our campaign thing was that the BLP is best for Barbados. I know all of you at this table knows that. We look forward that in the involvement of young people, if all this going forward.
Political divide as well.
Listen, it's one form and one sign away, so it's up to you to make the decision.
And
for those who left, could always come back. But understanding, yeah, Mia cares, the BLP cares. So I said that with all sincerity. It's a party where all ideas contend. We have to use the ability then. We get 3 minutes. I use it all 3 minutes. No, honestly, we want to keep inviting more young people into the process. We've been doing a good job with that this year in terms of giving people different opportunities. And
how much is the membership of the LS now?
How much?
Yeah.
We don't announce our numbers to the public. That's not public.
You can call Jermaine as one, though.
He is one. See, if I was interrupted, we finished all time. We finished all time. But again, we use forums like this to get feedback and understand where things go. And I know that the cabinet and the parliamentarians, they listen. And we're going to do what it takes to ensure that we protect the citizens of Barbados and carry government forward. BLP best for Barbados.
Thank you. We just want to say thank you to both of you guys. One of the things though that we must commend the parties on is the fact that first of all, Barbados get to see there's young people that we have a lot, as you said, we have a lot to give, we have a lot to say. We believe that from the time we started this forum, we had to say a lot, despite in our political affiliations.
That's right.
We were able to come together as young people and debate topics. We were able to bring people from different classes, from different organizations. Here we got the BLP and the PDP and still the Democratic Party.
Consistent.
And it's really good, it's not about a damn show or be show, it's all about just young people.
That's right.
Despite showing, but one of the things I must commend you guys on is, especially within your parties, that the young Dems is actually starting to shine. We're actually starting to hear more, they say more. The LYS is actually saying a lot more. They're hearing them a lot more. Y'all having activities, which I went to activity one time where Dems was at the activities, they were made to feel welcome because it was announced that they were there and they did not do it in any, I must comment that it was not in any negative, derogatory pull down. It was just said, we could acknowledge that some of the Democratic Party, and they were welcome. They talk, they engage. So those are things that I love to see as young people.
That's a Christmas party.
The thing. So that was really good, and I could have said that was something all engaging. The PDP as the youth sports person, we're hearing more from you, Akil. We're hearing you on the call-in shows as regular as possible, keeping the PDP alive.
That's good.
So that is good. We're hearing Crystal in the Senate. So we give kudos to the young people. We wanted to discuss the youth perspective tonight. We think we did a really, really good job. I would love to have you guys back on. For sure, to discuss more things as we get closer to election, as we get closer to, as you guys got anything coming up, we would love to hear. But before we left, we always like to say, do you guys have any activities coming up within your parties that you wish to share, so we can just put it out there?
Just follow the Facebook page and the Instagram of our,
which is the League of Young Socialists, and yours will be the
PDP. Yeah,
PDP.
yeah.
So it's not saying PDP.
People's Party for Democracy.
Right, and
PDP is our.
We still have the water drive going on in St. John, so we still accepting donations of water to distribute to the residents. We'll be moving from St. John probably next week to head to areas in St. Thomas, areas in St. George, and St. Joseph to continue distribution.
So thank you, and support where you can. And remember to adhere to any COVID laws out there. Anything just to be safe and sound. We want to ask you. We want to ask you. We want to ask you to tune in next week, Tuesday again. More interesting guests, more interesting topic. And we just want to say a blessed good night to everyone. God bless you. Stay safe. Till next week.